most appropriate. To be honest with you, I really think that just winging it, if you feel like reading it is appropriate, then we'll do that, and I don't see anything wrong with that at all. So I'm gonna have some things pulled up. One thing I am adamant about, boys, is I think we need to set up a Nightbot command. I will make one real quick where we have a disclaimer about like if you are feeling suicidal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the National Suicide Hotline. I think that's a big one.
Yeah, Mahler and I, at least on our channels, we already have one. We both have one already. Yeah, a bunch of different countries.
Yeah, if you can toss that over,
toss that.
Yep, please.
No problem. I got you. I don't have the Nightbot command to actually add it, but that's the message
we
use.
I can do that.
Yeah, great.
Also, congrats, Llama, and we'll have to play some Vermintide sometime together.
Yes, please, and thank you. Let me set up the name tags here. Well,
okay, hello friends. Look at these nerds. How are you, Snoops? Hi, Night Owl. How are you doing? I hope you're well. I just saw you guys like 20 minutes ago, right? 25 minutes ago, maybe? It's good to see you. It's good to see you. I hope you're feeling good tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I think everything looks really good on this end.
We're going to discuss a little bit of good stuff tonight.
One thing, too, if we don't mind being judicious on our use of mute, because I know a lot of you guys, I use push talk. So we'll have to be careful about talking to stream. Yeah, I know, Jolly Llama, it looks like you have a mute button on your microphone, so.
Yeah. I have a hotkey on my keyboard. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Looks good to me then. I guess whenever you boys are ready.
Sure.
All right. Welcome in, friends. Welcome in. Hope everybody's having a great night. You guys are not aware of what is going on tonight. We are talking mental health. We are talking mental health. Okay, we are talking mental health specifically to coming out of COVID and then the other struggles that we're all Moody's going to be jumping in when she can. She's going to be jumping in when she can. So if you could, Night Owl, can you set up a multi-link? Or I can, I guess. Let me see here. Let me see. Alright, I'm going to set up the multi-link for us. X. Alright, there you go, buddy. Alright, so that one's ready. It's okay. I got you, baby. I got you. I got you. There it is. There's the multi-link. You guys would like to see or give some love to our other panelists. Moody Butterfly. Oh, hold on. Let me add Moody Butterfly to it. My fault on that. Sorry about that. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. Now try it. You throw it to Jolly. Okay, throw this one, though. Yeah, I don't know if she's going to be streaming, but still, let's send some love to her anyway, you know? Yeah. Send some love to her. And she's a brand new streamer, right? So we're going to try to give her some love as well. Kind of see what we can do, you know? Actually, I think what I'm going to do is this. And there we go. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay. I got a lot of things on one window right now. A lot. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Night Owl. I appreciate you, brother. Hello, Fuzzy.
Hey, how are you?
I am well. How are you, my friend? How are you?
Doing okay.
It is good to see you. I hope you've had a great day.
It's been a good day. Yeah, it
Good.
has.
Good.
Every day
That's
we're still
key.
breathing is a good day.
I'm telling you, every day we're upright, right? Come on. There we go. Got to get my, just in case, you know, just in case chat pops off. Guys, we do have a link. Where's that link at, by the way?
Which one?
The one for the Discord.
Oh, yeah. Here, I
Yeah,
got it
the
handy.
one for Jolly's Discord. For anybody who wants to jump in and share their story, we have a spot in the mental. Oh, no. Cancel. Oh, I messed up. Ah, my bad. Join.
Might have
My
with
bad.
that is that we're not gonna be able to just drag people in. We'll have to
Yeah.
add them and then add them to the call.
It just,
Yeah,
I tried flipping over there and yeah, you see what it did to my cam.
It's all good.
That's okay. We can work with it.
I broke it.
We can work with it.
Do you already put that thing in, the link in there though, yeah?
Yes, so I just sent it to my chat, and also I resent it to the group chat that we're in. So just in case.
Okay. Now I'm going to give you a link. If you could, I don't know, set up a quick command for it. So this is for anybody who wants to chat, okay? Anybody who would like to raise their hand and have a discussion. I don't know what you can call it. What do you want? Yeah, exactly, an exclamation thingy. Correct. Yeah, and then call it whatever. It's all good. I'll default to you. So Moody Butterfly is going to be popping in when she can.
Late, yes, either late or not present. You'll probably see her walking in the background at some point.
Okay. Well, we did include her on the multi-link. You know, it's important. You see some. All right, cool.
There we go.
You'll just do that since people are going to share it. Okay, share. Perfect. All right.
Jolly has a fantastic setup that I'm a little jealous
He's got
of.
a
I'm
beautiful
loving those
setup.
lights in the background. Yeah, those are really nice.
He's got a nice
And
setup.
that beard. I'm only a little jealous of the beard, though.
Thank you. Yours is very full, and not gonna lie, a little bit of beard envy myself. So.
Well.
So I'm getting someone saying they're getting invalid invite, so I'm just gonna make a new invite just in case.
Okay.
Okay.
And make sure that it's actually working before we go ahead and get started here. I'll
Sure.
send that to you guys right now.
Thank you.
All right.
And that'll actually put them directly in the voice channel as well.
Okay. Sorry, Night Owl. Yeah. There it is. All right. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm speaking to all of you, and also my chat. Is this working, chat?
I have you loud and clear.
Yeah, I just had a small issue there with my hotkey. I forgot that OBS hates Alt as a hotkey.
Yep. Pretty much. Alright, I got you guys on the multi as well.
Great.
There we go. You're good, Night Owl. If you have to, don't worry. I mean, if you have to go, you go. Okay. I don't want. You definitely need sleep. So I mean, don't feel bad if you have to dip out. It's all good. I really appreciate you, man. I really do. I appreciate you being here and all the work you've done, especially during the time earlier, you know? Just remember there's another mod active. There is, Snoops. I hate to say I forgot, but yes, you are here. Thank you, Snoops. Seriously. Thanks for taking on that role. Yeah, I know, but it's been a long ass time since one of these has been a thing. You're right. You're right. And we need to do it more often. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I want to thank everybody who's here. I want to thank everybody from every stream, right? Who is going to jump in and chat with us. I'm excited for this because I think we all need it. I need it. You know, it's been tough, man. It's been a tough year and a half. So we're gonna chat about it. I got an article, and then we'll see kind of where it goes. You know. See what Jolly's saying.
If you'd like to speak over voice, make sure you.
Oh, there he
join
is.
that mental
Yes.
waiting
So
room in that server.
that's a good point.
Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. So Jolly makes a good point. If anybody out there would like to share their story, would like to talk, would like to ask any questions, whatever the case may be, there is an option to share, exclamation share. Let me actually update that in our stream. Edit stream info. Let's do that. Mental health, explanation share. Oh, I can't do. Okay, I can't do anymore. It's too long. Yep, it is. Alright, well, we're gonna have to get rid of our GLHF pledge. Sorry, folks. Let me do this. We're just setting up right now. Apologize, anybody who's here.
Off with introductions, of course. So
thank you for being here.
Myself included. As soon as they're ready. I think we're gonna let.
Yep. All right, brother. Yeah, we could do the automated one. Sorry about that, guys. Hello.
Hey.
How's everybody feeling?
Hype. I got some hype in chat.
You got some hype in chat?
Yeah, people are joining and talking, so that's great.
Good.
Fantastic.
Good. This is an open forum for everyone. Why am I not showing up as live on your list? Yeah, this is an open forum for everybody. Anybody who's going through any kind of struggles right now. The bottom line is this chat or this stream is all about allowing you and everyone else to know you're not alone, right? We've all been through, we all have struggles. We've been through probably things that you think are unique to yourselves, but they are not, right? We've been through these things, and it's easier to walk through the darkness together than it is alone. So this is all about you guys out there, and anything you want, any questions you may have, any interaction you want to have with this stream it's here for you, okay? As well as for us, right? Because we're also human beings and we're also going through these same struggles. I know that, and I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I'm pretty sure that we're all in the same boat. So sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yep, definitely. You guys want to start out with just introductions, because in case Anniversary streams don't know, Mahler, why don't you go first since you were
okay
talking.
Okay, sure. I'm Mahler JM. I've been a streamer on Twitch. Hello. I've been a streamer on Twitch for almost a year now. But in the end, I'm a human being just like everybody else, right? I have a full-time job. I struggle to do things here and there. But overall, I'm just a regular human. My name is James. If you'd like to, I mean, you want to get real personal with me, it's fine. But I live in Michigan, and I really enjoy streaming because of the interaction we have. Uh-oh, looks like we lost somebody. Because of the interaction I have with it's intentional with you guys. I really appreciate that. Before streaming, I didn't have a lot of friends, and I'm so blessed to be able to be here with all of you and get to know each and every one of you. I don't know what kind of intro we were doing necessarily, Jolly, but I mean you know, I'm an old gamer.
Young at heart.
Young at heart, yeah, definitely young at heart. Trying to do the thing, you know.
Yeah.
Jolly Llama.
You do a great job.
I felt like.
Fuzzy, did you want to go next, or you need a second?
Yeah, I can go. Sorry, I
No.
I don't want to be vaping on the stream. You know, I think it's pretty kind of tacky.
Gotcha. Well, I feel personally attacked, but that's okay.
Wow.
I feel like in this stream it's kind of tacky. I should say.
I don't either.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because I do it all the time when I'm playing games. So, hey guys, I'm Lord Fuzzywig. That was my nickname as a kid. When I used to have hair, it grew kind of fuzzy. And I was at a Renaissance fair, and anyway, I got the nickname. I'm new to Twitch. I'm new to all this. Mauler JM has taken me under his wing and has done a great job teaching me the ropes. He's been a really, really great guy. Love him to death. I owe him everything at this point. Him and Someone XH, they've both been fantastic helps. A little bit about me personally. I'm 31 years old. Name is Justin. There you go. I do work in mental health, coincidentally. I've done it for 6 years. I work at a hospital with inpatient psychiatric units. I work on those units. And so does Moody Butterfly. I'm going to call her out. So there it is. I personally struggle with depression and anxiety. Anxiety since I was like 13. Depression officially diagnosed when I was 28. Funny enough, but it's something I've dealt with since I was a little boy. So this is a near and dear thing to me. And as I've been telling my chat, there was a study that showed self-reporting Twitch users. So I believe it involves streamers too, so not just viewers but streamers. 60 to 70% of Twitch users self-report having a mental illness. So this is an important topic. Let's talk about it candidly. Let's talk about it openly.
Thank you. Well, welcome to Twitch. I don't know, how long have you actually been streaming? Just out of curiosity.
Oh God, it's been about a month and a half now. Every day.
5-6 weeks.
Into
Super
baby
new.
streamer.
Yeah, very
Welcome.
new. Yeah, very new.
Welcome. All right, I guess I'll go. I'm ex-Jolly Llama. My real name is Casey. I live in California, in the Southern California region. I have been streaming off and on for about just over 11 years now, about 11 and a half years. I have been streaming consistently for almost about a year now. I have had depression and anxiety for most of my life as well. Depression first diagnosed when I was 6 years old, and anxiety first diagnosed when I was 13. And yeah, I think open communication about our own mental health and the mental health, in general, the topic is super important. So really glad to be doing this again. We do these once every couple of months or so. Check in with our communities, check in with each other, and it's always a very pleasant and warm time. So really glad to be doing it again, especially with you guys.
Happy to
Absolutely.
have you.
Yeah. Okay.
So where did you guys want to start with this after intros? Did you guys have any topics specifically in mind? Mauler, I think you want to discuss
I do.
The COVID situation a little bit, and I think Fuzzy, you wanted to touch more on the Twitch and streamer and viewer situation. Would be my guess. So did either of you want to just go ahead and take the floor on one of those topics first?
Yeah, Mahler, go ahead and take the floor, my friend. You have that article that tugged at your heartstrings, and I think that's a really good place to start.
I agree.
And definitely leads into some conversation. So take it away.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Just as an overview, all of us have been dealing with a lot of crap, right? A year and a half, almost 2 years now of COVID and quarantine.
Talking to your chat there, Mahler.
What are you talking about? I am. My fault. I'm sorry.
That is
Yes,
okay.
I will
okay.
take. I apologize. I didn't realize I was muted.
No problem.
But yeah, I wanted to start off with, we've all been dealing with this whole situation for almost 2 years now. If you think about it, it has been a long struggle going through the whole COVID pandemic. And yeah, it's been tough on a lot of us. We talked about it before. But one of the things that people don't realize is how difficult it is coming out of it, right? Going from what we've become used to in a year and a half with quarantine and being separated from our family to now going into vaccinations and opening up the world again and trying to quote unquote find out, get back to normal. And I don't know what normal is anymore, because our world has changed while we've been sitting inside of our houses. Socially, from a public standpoint, we've all seen the news, we've all seen the outcry for equality, and it's really sad, in my opinion, in 2021 that we haven't gotten to a better point with all of that. But I'll leave that for another day. But one thing I did want to discuss was definitely coming out of COVID and the impacts of COVID and what we're looking at, what we're facing as we come out of it, as we try to get back to normal. And we found an article, and it was shared by a very good friend of mine, Peace Dog. Many of you folks may know him. He also in the mental health industry. But he was talking about an article that I really want to get my hands on, and we have a piece of it right here, and that's what I want to start with. So please bear with me as I do a little reading. Here we go. So this is from April 13th, 2020. When John Pizhanowski learned his father had been taken off a ventilator at a New York hospital, he sat down at his kitchen counter in Arizona and wrote a Twitter tribute to his father he figured only family and close friends would read. My dad was a great man. There are no buildings named after him. He left behind no fortune, and there are no books that tell his story. He was not great in the way we often try to define the term. He was great in that he was such a good man. Good to his core. Unfailingly good. Moments after he finished and closed his computer, John got a phone call that 87-year-old Don had died from COVID-19. And with that call, John became another of the massive people in this world who began to grieve the loss of a loved one from the coronavirus pandemic. On Twitter, John shared how his father, the youngest of 10 children, who was born during the Great Depression, had a way of telling the harsh stories of his childhood with a warm sense of nostalgia and a twinkle in his eye. He explained that rather than a suit and tie man, his dad was a blue-collar resident of Buffalo, New York, a green bar of lava soap guy who worked in steel manufacturing and then built industrial turbo compressors. He shared stories his father told him, explaining how he always viewed his father as the coolest in the room, and closed by saying his dad's defining feature was how much he cared about people. It was a while before the grieving son went online again, but when he did, he discovered something surprising. His thread about his dad had gone viral, tapping into an enormous sense of collective grief. It has since been read and shared tens of thousands of times across the world. And Pizhanowski says Twitter metrics show it's been viewed more than 4 million times. There are some people from my old neighborhood that weighed in, but mostly it's people from all over the country and the world, he says. Most didn't know my dad at all, but they do know a guy like him who told great stories, loved sports, cared about people, and had the same kind of dirty wash basin in the basement that can never get cleaned because so many greasy, oily hands washed in it. My father has one of those. You know that guy. That guy was a great guy, and a lot of people are hurting because they are losing that guy. The COVID-19 grief tsunami. Death tolls from COVID-19 are being charted, tracked, and graphed every day. But the co-author of a new study published in a special COVID-19 issue of Applied Demography says we as a country haven't yet paid attention to the tsunami of grief that is just beginning as a result of these deaths. As we are fixated on what this pandemic will mean in terms of total lives lost, It is important to keep in mind that this number will feel far more pervasive since each life will leave multiple grieving, explains study co-author Emily Smith Greenaway, PhD, Associate Professor of Sociology at the University of Southern California. The U.S. epidemic has the potential to translate into such a high number of people losing a parent or grandparent, not to mention other relations, friends, or neighbors. Seeking to quantify the impact from the mounting death toll, the doctor assessed preliminary data from China and Italy showing the risk of death for older people who contract the virus. They combined that with the demographic information about family structures and came up with the models to estimate the number of Americans who could see a parent or grandparent die of COVID-19. In severe scenarios of their modeling, if 40% are eventually confirmed infected, an estimated 4.7 million would have at least one parental death to COVID-19, and 9.1 million would lose at least one grandparent to the virus. If confirmed infections reach just 10% of what white and black Americans, that would mean roughly more than 500,000 people, 537,000 white and black Americans would die, because these individuals are the grandparents or parents of multiple others. This would lead to an estimated 1.2 million white and black Americans losing a parent, and an estimated 2.4 million losing at least one grandparent. These are just models. Current estimates for public health officials put the anticipated numbers of death around 100,000. No matter which numbers they actually fall, researchers say there's no question the mounting death toll will bring untold amounts of grief that we as a country need to anticipate, and across the world. I'm just going to throw that in there. They also warn that some families and communities will be especially hit hard by a clustering of deaths, given the contagious nature of the coronavirus. A second wave public health concern is this tsunami of grief, and there is no comparison to this in recent history. Americans have not experienced a mortality shock like this. On top of that, these deaths are so traumatizing. They are sudden, and the people that have to grieve them alone. We need to brace ourselves for the collateral health damage that will come from this. This is the part that I think makes a lot of sense. While grief is this physical and emotional impacts of grief. While grief is a very personal and unique thing, it takes a well-documented physical and mental toll that can be extreme. Johns Hopkins Medicine says physical symptoms of grief can include fatigue, headaches, and an upset stomach. And mental symptoms range from anxiety and depression to anger, irritability, and distraction. Studies also show bereavement can increase the risk of a heart attack and death. The mental health problems caused by this pandemic are real, life-threatening, and will grow over time. They must be taken and treated seriously. They will not miraculously go away on their own if we do nothing. David Kessler agrees. He is one of the world's most well-known grief experts. He co-wrote one of the defining books on the subject, on grief and grieving, finding the meaning of grief through the 5 stages of loss, with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, shortly before her death in 2004. This year, Kessler is more than halfway through a 30-city tour for his book. Okay, that book. Okay, I'm going to move forward on that. Without knowing this pandemic was coming, I wrote in the new book how one of my concerns in recent years have been that increasingly I was seeing more and more people have a hard time in grief. And often that happened when people weren't able to hold or attend a memorial service or funeral for their loved ones. Those rituals are part of what helps us process our loss and continue on, and nobody is able to engage in them right now. John Pajansky and his family, I did his name completely wrong, are among those who have put off a funeral, and the Arkansas man admits it does make the grieving process harder. He and his brothers are self-isolating across the country. Because their dad has COVID-19, no one was allowed to go into the hospital and say goodbye to him. Now they can't gather to honor his life. Instead, they are mourning with each other via text and chat several times a day, video chat. He says the sudden nature of his family's loss also makes it feel very profound. His father was literally fine and talking on the phone with his children one day, and then so fatigued from the sudden onset of COVID-19 symptoms 3 days later that family found him lying on the floor, unable to move. he was rushed to the hospital and died just 3 days after. This is so different. It came out of nowhere. My dad deteriorated so fast that he couldn't go. Excuse me. That he couldn't go. That we couldn't go to be with him as he was suffering, and none of us even got to talk to him one last time on the phone before he died. Okay. Somebody else want to pick up for a second? I don't know if you want to talk about the how to grieve with while social distancing, or maybe we can kind of open it up and talk about it now.
Yeah,
sorry.
Unfortunately, there's not an
choked up.
there's not an easy answer to it. Grief has taken a completely new format, and one of the big things that we see happening is that people are struggling with the idea. They're starting to harbor resentment toward healthcare because all of a sudden, you can't be with that family member, that loved one who's sick and sometimes dying, because obviously being close to them would result in you potentially being infected and things like that. There is not an easy answer to it, unfortunately. I think the advent of things like Twitch, Zoom, Google Hangouts, and all these other things have created a slightly more personable way to interact with each other, and I couldn't be more grateful for them. But grief is tough anyway, and what we're seeing too is that people are losing each other so suddenly, and that is always hard. I have here I'll pull it up here. I've got some worksheets regarding grief that I think are pertinent, but the important thing is this. So many people feel that grief takes a certain format, and everybody has that classic, the 5 stages of grief in their brain, but it doesn't always look like that. Everybody grieves on their own, and grief becomes a problem when it takes too long, and that looks different for everybody. So don't get in your head about it should take a certain time, or I have to feel a certain way. Grief is a real thing that we're seeing, and especially what we're seeing is it's affecting kids a lot. This pandemic is affecting children terribly.
If you could share those infographics or slides, whatever you had there, I can pull them up on my stream as well. Unless you wanted to share screen here.
What are you talking about?
Either or works.
Which infographic?
I think Fuzzy just said he had some things.
Oh, Fuzzy has something. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna read the how to grieve while social distancing part, but
please,
it was hard. I will. It was just. I apologize. I had to take a moment.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Because I don't know. I have 2 parents who are very high risk, right? And when this guy talks about his father being that guy who has the dirty wash basin in his basement, right, or in the garage, and using lava soap, but it could never be clean. I see my father because we have one, and my mom has MS, my father has heart condition, so it's very real, and I'm very lucky, right, that I'm able to see them still, and we haven't had this situation, but it hits so close to home, just because this is real. This is a real man in a family who is really put into a situation where they can't express, that last moment, right, with that loved one, and that's hard. That's you always want to add, you always want to have that last moment, right? So I apologize because it brought me to that moment where, I haven't lost one of my parents, and God forbid that doesn't happen anytime soon. But I put myself in his shoes, and so I had to take a moment there. So thank you. The last part of the article is how to grieve with social distancing. Kessler says grief is always isolating, but with people being forced to stay at home during this pandemic, they are now getting hit with a double dose of isolation when they lose a loved one. He says that finding ways to express your grief and connect with others who share it is especially important. So he's urging anyone who has to delay or postpone a funeral or memorial service to find new ways to come together in the short term to work through their loss. A life and a death needs to be marked. And now we have people being robbed of that chance. You can postpone a funeral, but you can't postpone grief. So please find a way to come together virtually and remember the person you loved now, he says. The grief expert says these moments can be small and personal, but need to involve connecting with others, even if that happens in new and different ways. He suggests you can work with the funeral home to see if you can live stream the casket for the family. Hold a memorial service over video chat so people have a way to gather and tell stories. Invite a clergy person to speak or offer words of comfort over the phone or video chat, and even consider asking someone if they can sing as they would at an in-person memorial service. Show photos or edit a little video with home movies and photos that you share over video chat with others who are grieving your loved one's death too. One of the most primal things about grief is that it must be witnessed. There is even science on this. We need our tears to be reflected and our grief to be seen and shared by another human being, because that tells us our loved one's life and their loss matters. We need that to heal, Kessler explained. We aren't meant to be islands of grief. There is danger in that. That's when you become stuck and unable to move forward in life and live in a way that honors those who have died. He says meaning in the death of a loved one comes when you figure out how to honor the person you've lost. He says many people figure out how to do that through grief support groups, since those often meet in person. Kessler created one on Facebook. Nearly 5,000 people joined grief.com in about 3 weeks, and many of them were grieving people who died from the virus. Grief doesn't end, and it doesn't necessarily get smaller. We must become bigger, but in time, you learn to grieve with more love than pain. That comes from defining their loved ones by their life, not their death, Kessler explained. Pijanowski, who has a doctorate and whose own academic research touches on self-care in the educational setting, says he's looking for ways each day to feel less unmoored. For him, that means focusing on things he can control, like making healthy meals, sticking with a sleep schedule, regularly exercising, and being deliberate about making connections with others. Besides texting and talking with family on the phone and video chat, he says the only way he can really do that is to continue to read his way through the thousands of comments people left in response to his Twitter thread. Just connecting on social media and being willing to listen and read stories about who others have lost feels like one of the only real gifts we can give people who are grieving right now. People are really pouring their stories out online, and sadly, I think it's just the beginning. By the time this is over, I think everyone will know someone impacted by this pandemic in a grave way. And that's the end. If anybody would like to read that article, send DMs, and I'm happy to provide it to you guys. It is a great article, and it definitely, I think, kind of frames out really what we're looking at right now.
I'd like to share something. I don't want to say too much, but believe me when I say that this individual is more than qualified to speak on the topic. And I want to read it. He's in my chat. I want to read. He's been a great supporter of the channel, by the way.
Fair.
But believe me when I say I don't want to sell him out. More than qualified to talk about this
Hi,
topic.
Danny.
He says, and I quote,
Hi, Wild
is
Huntress.
grief a
Thank you for the
disease?
follow.
Sometimes.
Sorry I
if you
didn't
have an
get to
extended
you
period
earlier.
of grief, it's worth considering that depression may be co-occurring, and there are similar symptoms that overlap. I'm going to put up here in just a minute a neat little chart about that. He says, and now with vaccines, hopefully we can re-engage with some of our traditional methods of mourning. But I think this discussion of social distance mourning is important in case our support is not readily available, COVID or otherwise. Love the material that Mahler has found. That is a very important topic too. Whether you want to call it complicated grief or whether you want to call it, sometimes it does become depression. Sometimes depression is transient. Sometimes it is there to stay forever. But that is an important thing, understanding that the grief process is different than the depressive process. And again, I'm about to literally just in a second here put up a little thing And I'm going to try to make it like oversized so you guys can all see it and your chat can see it as you have it on the stream. If it wouldn't have sold them out, I would have invited Ada the Strong onto the stream because of his credentials.
Yeah, Night Owl. I've seen everything that's come through. I appreciate everybody, by the way. Solitude, thanks for the gifted sub to Peace Dog. Melon, it's beautiful to see you. I hope you're well. Danny, I hope you're doing well tonight. Thank you for being here. Night Owl, thanks for keeping me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm here.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, no. I maximized Fuzzy so that we could get a better view of this.
This is a really neat thing. It's from a fantastic site called Therapist Aid. I use it all the time in my work. It talks about the cycle of depression. I don't want to immediately steer away from grief and go into like depression and things like that, but I do want it to be clear that the two can resemble each other quite closely, and that, you know, we as people who are witnessing our loved ones grieve from a distance, we need to keep an eye out for these things. And this neat graphic on the left side is kind of the focal point here, but it comes with all sorts of things. You have different behavioral responses. One of the big issues that we're seeing right now with the COVID-19 pandemic is self-isolation is mandatory, right? I mean, you want people not to get sick. And so we're isolating, which is a classic depressive sort of maladaptation. We tell people, get outside, be social, interact with people. And everything we're seeing is saying, don't do that. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, it's a neat little graphic that you should definitely take a look at.
Good to see you,
I will send all of these over
well
to you guys in the private chat here.
So do we want to go through these? I mean, I have it blown up on my side.
I'll leave that for you to decide. We certainly could.
Want to accidentally click on something and disconnect myself. Can you scroll up a touch, Fuzzy?
Sure.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So we have stressors, right? A stressor is any situation. Are you guys reading it to your individual or?
I'm not, but I mean, you know what? I'm happy to go over this with everybody if you want.
Yeah.
Let's do that,
please.
So it's tough for me because sometimes I get a little scatterbrained, and I'm very, very passionate about the philosophy of mental health. So when I see the word stressors, I want to throw back and say, stressors originates, you know, this is not a word that many of you are familiar with, and here's where it comes from. So a stressor is used in mental health to refer to, as the screen says, a situation that causes strain or hardship. They can be short-term or long-term. Right now in my life, a stressor is I'm about to have custody of my children in a way that I did not. They're about to be living with me, which right now they do not. So that is a stressor because it's a situation that is causing me hardship. Not in that I don't love them, but it is a change. It's a change from the routine and the status quo. In some cases, referencing grief and COVID-19, I wonder if those might be referred to as stressors. Pro tip, yes, they are, 100%. Thoughts. Stressors often lead to negative thoughts, which may be irrational or exaggerated. That is a topic that I and Moody Butterfly certainly want to touch on later in the stream. But it's a very powerful topic that I think we all can challenge ourselves and challenge our brains and think hard about the way we can overcome our unnatural thoughts that we believe to be true. But they can lead to negative thoughts, which may be irrational or exaggerated. I need to be perfect. Nobody likes me. I'm not good at anything. Those are great examples of more depressive type thoughts as opposed to related to grief. But those feelings and physical symptoms are all tied into sort of the depressive presentation. So feelings, the way a person thinks about something has a major impact on how they will feel, and vice versa. They can feel sad, angry, hopeless, lonely, worthless. They can feel nothing, apathetic, a number of things, right? Physical symptoms. The body responds to stressors and negative thoughts and feelings with physical symptoms. It lists fatigue, sleep problems, poor concentration, and loss of motivation. Those are just teeny tiny amount of sort of symptoms we see with depression. And then you have behavioral responses. So the way you react to those thoughts, feelings, and physical symptoms create behaviors. This is where you see this isolation, the using alcohol and drugs to cope. It says neglecting daily tasks. I want to go further, and I want to speak honestly about my own personal experience with that very topic. One of the things that I didn't realize I did, and it actually manifested a few years ago, was I would realize that I wouldn't shower. I'm anal about showering, guys. Like, I have to shower constantly. But I would go a day, 2 days, 3 days without showering. I would wear the same clothes. I would wear dirty clothes. And it was okay. It made sense to me in my brain. Like, oh yeah, I just won't do that. Or I didn't have the energy. There were days I couldn't get out of bed. These types of things are the behavioral responses to depression. Again, this is not specific to grief, but we have to be very, very cognizant as we witness in our loved ones their own process of grieving that these things exist. I have another.
Danny. It's hard.
Let me find it. It is a fantastic worksheet, and it's called My Stages of Grief. I love it so much. So much. I want to re-stress to everybody who may not be as aware, the 5 stages, air quotes, of grief, or 6 or whatever number it is no longer accepted as like scientifically valid, but it is a good way to conceptualize the process of grieving. So let me download this and share it. And please chime in as I do my administrative tasks here.
Danny, is that something you want me to share that?
Yeah, a lot of those symptoms that you.
I mean, I can understand that
definitely
completely.
relate to grief.
As a child of
and
divorce.
as someone like I said who's been depressed for a long time, diagnosed with depression for a long time, it's very, very relatable. Like you said, not showering, all that stuff. I mean,
oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm just coming up even to a few months ago. It's been a struggle. Yeah.
Do you mind if I share while you're setting it up, Fuzzy?
Be my guest.
Okay.
Anytime
I'm just going to share.
Speaking, interrupt me.
No, I'm just going to share a comment from chat from a very good friend of mine. She says, I know that even without losing anyone close to them from COVID, just dealing with my divorce, the isolation that made the depression much worse for my children than I think it normally would be. They haven't had the people around them, besides their parents and each other, that they normally would talk through things with. So I think that's so relevant that how I do this where I can get all 3 of us back on the screen. But okay.
It's super relevant. That is a great example. Look, COVID-19 on its own is a stressor, a huge stressor, right? It's was it not literally on the news every single day for the entirety of a year, and even still today, we're going on a year and a half. It's such a stressor, and you can't get away from it. You can't look at the news. You can't have a conversation with people. Everybody's now talking about vaccines, right? Everybody's talking about it constantly. Huge stressor on everybody's mind. And then take just normal life events, divorces, moving, relationship troubles, just generally feeling like I'm not living up to my potential. All these things now get magnified through the lens of this pandemic, and people are really struggling out there. And if I personally, I want to be clear. I'm not a therapist. I have no desire to be a therapist, frankly, but I do have experience with this. And talking honestly, openly with people is the way forward. Reminding yourself you are not alone. Those are such powerful words. Reminding everybody you're not alone. There are people out there right now going through divorce in the pandemic, just the same as your viewer, just the same as the person who shared their story. And if we can say, I know, I feel it, I'm here too, that is so powerful. Just reminding you that, because depression and grief are the most isolating feelings in the whole world. You could not feel more alone. It's like being in a dark, dark hole, and you see the world passing by at 100 million miles an hour, and you know it you can't even move. You can't even get out of bed. So you're not alone. Your viewer, you are not alone. We know. We feel it.
And Night Owl, this isolation, this quarantine, this...
Mahler, you are muted again, friend.
I know, I was talking to Night Owl.
Oh.
Just because, I don't want to get into too many details, because he and I have had, private discussions, and we already talked about it a little bit. But he essentially said, I don't know how this fits in with what he's dealing with. And I was making the point that although you might not have a specific grief issue, right? The pandemic, the isolation amplifies everything you're going through. And not having the support, like just not being able to move freely about the world. So that is important. So that is all right, Fuzzy with the crazy covering there. All right, there we go. Here we go.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
I love it. I love it.
I don't want to leave on a stream. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But but what I'm saying is, like, without going into the detail about what you're specifically dealing with, it does amplify it. It does make it more difficult to get well, right? To get yourself into a place where you're feeling good, just because of the state of the world. So just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. That's exactly what I was saying. Everything is magnified through this lens. When we think of what we cope with, right, and we think of ways to feel better, we think, again, like get outside, experience the sunlight,
right.
Experience friendship and companionship, be close to somebody, physical touch, be outside, feel the earth beneath your feet, feel these things, feel the fresh air, take a shower, get outside, go bowling. Name it. The list is endless.
Everything. Just getting out. Yeah, I agree completely.
But now you can't, or at least it's heavily restricted.
Yeah, what he's saying is that they're in his area there have been no cases and no quarantine, right? But I will still challenge you, Night Owl, to say that even though you haven't been affected personally in your own neighborhood, your life has been affected, because what's the chances that over this last year and a half that you would have had an opportunity to meet, Yubi or Wadi or anybody else over there in Australia who have been affected by it necessarily in their world, right? Where you could have had that social interaction. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Or Melon. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, Key. I love you. And that, I think, is because I have no doubt in my mind that by this time, a year ago probably, well, I mean, maybe 6 months ago, I would have met Jolly in person. I have no doubt we would have met in some capacity between now and then. But have we been able to? No. And it very much isolates you from that social interaction, which is so healthy for all of us. Uh-oh.
That was intentional.
Okay.
You're exactly right. So last year in 2020, I had friends. I've been gaming with this group of guys for I think we did the math, and it was like 15 or 16 years now. Been knowing these. I mean, I was a child. I was a young teen. I was a child. Now looking back at the age of 31, I can say I was literally a child. And I had plans to meet them. They were going to come to my state, and we were going to meet. And it had to be put on hold. They couldn't get a flight, And so, social interaction is tougher than it's ever been. And now we get these forms. We get things like Twitch. We get things like Zoom, Google Hangouts, Reddit. The chat room of old that Mahler, you and I probably grew up with is long gone. But
MySpace?
the IRCs, the MySpace, the IRCs,
AOL
Those are
chat
gone.
rooms.
I'm-
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
I might be older than you think I am if you don't think I grew up with.
No, you're looking pretty young.
Oh.
Thank you.
Looking pretty young.
Appreciate that.
Baby face. You know?
Oh
But,
man.
yeah, those are not there anymore. So now we have these new things, and
Exactly.
maybe for a lot of people it's Facebook, for a lot of people it's Twitter, for a lot of people it's sometimes it's Instagram.
Right.
But I have to be careful and saying like, oh, go after those things. Social media causes its own problems. Like we see this link between social media and depression is very, very clear. So we have to be careful encouraging people, but use the tools at your disposal
Exactly.
to cope and to be okay.
I did have somebody who chimed in about that, the whole thing. But she's the
Yeah.
one who mentioned the divorce scenario. She said, my therapist said she alone had 5 other clients who also had to deal with co-living with their exes while going through divorce while in quarantine. The feelings of isolation and being trapped are almost unfathomable. I can't say that word for some reason right now. Fathomable. So, and I can understand that. I mean, what would, usually, right, in a normal world, when you separate yourself from, from a situation, you're able to separate yourself. Now all of a sudden, people are being forced to extend these relationships longer than they should, right? Which, I mean, and it's not, and I don't want to minimize the effect it has on the adult, but I want to maximize the effect it has on the child. And from being a product of multiple divorced families, essentially, I know how isolating it is being that kid, right, in split families. And now you're watching your parents essentially have no relationship, right, in the same house, and being forced to deal with it. I hope that our children are stronger than I was, I guess, growing up through that stuff, and don't have long effects from this situation. But I have a feeling that we're gonna see it. I have a feeling it's gonna be gonna be tragic in some cases, and people are really are gonna struggle mentally and health wise. So
Yeah. So we're already seeing it. I think
I
the
agree.
number is something like 40%, 40 to 60% more psychiatric presentations to the hospital in adolescence. It's there. It's here. It's a thing. It's been a thing. I would say about locally in my area, I would say it took about 6 months, and then we started seeing, especially teenagers. I would argue,
all right,
11 to 16, flooding in, struggling with the isolation, struggling with again, divorce rates have skyrocketed. We thought we would see the opposite, right? We thought we would see a baby boom. We thought couples would be coming closer together and bonding, but in fact, we're seeing the opposite.
Yeah.
To your viewer, I do want to share very briefly. I try really hard not to focus too much on our situations, but I went through almost identically a situation that your viewer went to. You're not alone. I was there. I literally was there. I lived with my ex for months until I said, you know what, this isn't worth it for the kids. This is not worth it. And I started working the hours, Mahler, that you and I have discussed, 60 plus hours a week, all the overtime. I literally didn't see my children for 3 months because I was working just to start. So I did it. I lived for months with my ex, and I witnessed, not just on a personal level, how it affected me, but how it affected my children. So you're not alone. We are here. We feel it. It's everywhere, and it sucks. But you know what? This is all temporary. All of this is temporary. We will get through this, and things will look very different in our personal lives, outside of our lives, in other people's lives. Everything's going to look very different, and that's okay. We have to learn how to cope with that and be okay with that. But reminding ourselves every single day that all of this is temporary and we're going to get through it is critical.
How you doing over
Jolly,
there in
you've
Cali?
been awfully quiet over there, Jolly.
Oh,
Listening, I'm learning a lot. I'm just, it's a lot. There's a lot going on in the world, and yeah, just getting through it is rough. Just yeah, having Twitch and having people, like meeting people, being able to connect virtually has made a huge difference, not just for myself, but a lot of people just that I have met. It's made a huge difference to all of. Yeah.
I agree.
We've been very blessed, and I say we, I mean I, being the newest to all of this, could not be more blessed. It is a distinct joy, and I hope, kind of as on a tangential topic, I hope that I'm fostering a community where people want to talk to each other amongst each other. They don't just want to talk to me and patronize me. I want them to talk to each other, because guys, I mean, I tell you what, when I joined Mahler's stream, let me tell you, and Jolly Llama, I'm sorry, I haven't patronized your stream as much as I want to, but
That's okay.
when I joined that stream, people are shouting me out. They're saying, "Hey, Fuzzy, how are you, man?" And it's the greatest thing in the whole world, because here it is in real time. Here's a community of people who say, "Hey, how are you?" What a powerful thing to say. What a powerful thing to say. I love it. It's the greatest thing, and we are so blessed to be the figurehead, if you will, of those communities. What a blessing! And I got to meet people like Mahler. I got to meet you, Jolly Llama. I don't know you. I never would have met you, man. I never would have met you. And here we are. And it's so cool. And we need to okay, here we go. Tangent done. The number one thing in the world to feel better is gratitude. Don't get on your philosophy thing, Fuzzy. Don't get on it. Gratitude. Marcus Aurelius in Meditations, when I read Meditations,
You're absolutely right,
which is not the official name of it, by the way, but it's what it goes by, Meditations. It starts, chapter 1 is literally Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, during its hardest time, wars, plagues, etc., took the time to write in the whole first chapter. It's literally a journal, but in the first chapter, all the people in his life and all the reasons and ways that he is grateful for them. What a powerful, powerful thing. That alone, that one chapter, I didn't even have to read the rest of it. That one chapter changed my whole life, period. Changed my whole life. That alone, gratitude, will teach you to be a more positive thinker, because you're thinking about things that you have in your life every single day. If you even find just one thing a day to be grateful for and one thing a day to love, you've succeeded. Just one. It'll change your whole life. Be grateful. Today, I'm grateful for Twitch. I'm grateful for you guys for being here. I'm grateful for my chat. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to be healthy. I'm grateful that I'm not as sick as I was yesterday. I didn't feel well at all. I could just name these things. But on my bad days, I wouldn't be able to say those. But I have to force myself every day to find at least one thing.
I do want to say thank you for bringing that up and starting that discussion, because my chat just blew up with everyone telling each other that they love each other, and that is beautiful. So thank you.
I love that. I love that.
My heart is warm now.
I think it's a good thing, you know, and that's the thing. I don't know why it started, but you know, when Mahler was around, you know, say, "Hey, I love you, man. Love you." I barely know the guy. I barely know the guy. He could be a terrible person in secret, but I still love him because he's done so much. You know?
You're such a bad dude. Whoa. Wow.
I think if he's hiding that he's a terrible person, he's really good at hiding it, because I feel like I know him pretty well at this point, and he's
really
a fantastic human being.
Yeah, really good people.
Yes. And I wish I could be better. Honestly.
Don't we all?
Well,
yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. Are we talking about? Night Owl asked me to talk about my own struggle, right? And I don't want to. Jolly, if you have any comments from Chad or anything like that, I can talk about this later. But yeah.
I think the only comment that I've gotten so far was a viewer that said, just want to say that they're 100% right here when you folks were discussing grief being compounded because of external COVID situations.
Sure.
And then a chat everyone's just telling each other that they love each other, and that's basically all I got right now.
I love you
basically
guys.
All I got right now.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely try to be a good person, and I appreciate that, Fuzzy. And but I find myself, and actually, it really pains me because it was when Jolly was going through one of his hardest times. And I was also going through a hard time. But when I go through hard times, I isolate myself even further. And I didn't reach out to the man.
You're fine. I think at the time I was okay with people not reaching out. It is okay, Mahler.
I want to be better with those things. I felt like such a horrible friend.
No,
And
I'm fortunate enough to have a support group that is large enough and supportive enough that, you know, understanding that you were going through a hard time as well. I don't hold it against you at all. It's okay that you didn't. You know, I had plenty of support, and I also didn't know that you were going through a hard time yourself at the time.
I'm very yeah. I don't
Yeah.
show it. I put on a very good front. I have for my whole life. I was the little kid at 2 years old who was left without parents, essentially, right? They divorced and they were working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and I'm being shipped, you know, off to, you know, different family members, right? Every other weekend kind of bullshit. And so I was always that kid who openly and in public, a goon. I'm an idiot. I have fun. You know, people were like, he's so happy. Like, oh yeah, perfect. But then deep down, you know, it's still that little kid, right? Who's by himself, who's never had, or who has never felt like he ever had that real support system. And it still plagues me today. And it plagues me when I'm not feeling well, when I isolate myself, and I don't talk to anyone, like anyone. And that's not healthy. I know it's not healthy, but it's just like Fuzzy said, right? When you're not feeling good, sometimes it's even difficult to make your bed. Sometimes it's difficult to find one thing to put yourself into a positive light. And that's, I mean, 44 years old, and I still am attempting each day, day in, day out, to be better. And I challenge everyone out there to find something to be better every day. And it's hard, though. It is hard. That's why we're here, right? That's why we're here, and that's why we're talking about it, because you guys might not have known that I was struggling. But I knew that you were all here, right? I did. And even though I wasn't reaching out, you know, I didn't feel completely alone. And that's huge. That's huge when you're feeling really down. Hi, Small. I love you too.
You know,
I'm going to take a step away. I need to go blow my nose.
Go ahead.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Love you, Mahler.
I love you too.
Go blow that nose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
So
I love you guys.
A whole
Thank
topic,
you.
what he
Thank you
talked
for
about.
being here, and I'm so sorry that.
So what I'm hearing him say
hi, Jess.
is,
How
I
are you?
feel like a letdown.
Give me a second, folks.
I feel worthless. I feel like I failed you, in this case, Jolly. And that is pathological. And we have to challenge those feelings every single day. And it doesn't specifically pertain to COVID-19, but it so does. Because we feel, oh my God, you know, here I am stuck at the house again. I should be hanging out with my friend. You know, I haven't called them in how long? I should really go check up on them. I haven't called my mom, you know, or whoever. You know, I should be a better parent. I should take my kids out. I should do, you know, again, I'm a parent. I'm sure many of the people watching this are parents. I should take them out. They should be in the park. They should whatever. We can't let those feelings get to us. These are cognitive distortions, or Jung would call them shadow messages.
Jolly as well.
And we have to be very, very careful about allowing ourselves to believe those and to internalize and pathologize those. Because if we do, it can be, it's a dangerous road to go down. It can really have us feeling some kind of way that is not a healthy, good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I also had a viewer just say suppressing emotions really isn't great. Let them out, or they'll force themselves out when you let the mask. When you let the mask slip, and I think that's such a good way to put that. Yeah, they'll weasel their way out one way or another.
They always do. You know, and here's the thing. I want to talk about this briefly. I was also a class clown. everybody said the same thing. Everybody said the same thing. Oh, Josh, you're so happy. You're so happy. You're always so funny. You're making everybody laugh. And that was because I wanted everybody to not feel the way I felt. And so I think if we sampled, I don't know, maybe I'll get a grant for research for this, but I think make a little bit of money, put it into the stream. I think if we did a tally and like a poll of people who are depressed or anxious and said, like, were you the class clown? Do people think you're always happy and funny? I think we'd find that a vast majority of them are, because and there's a beauty in that in its own way. Yeah, and it's fake, but it's also kind of beautiful because it means that you're putting other people in front of yourself, and you're saying that I can't feel right, I can't feel good, I don't feel good, but I can make others feel good. And I think it's a powerful thing, and that's a noble thing. But you deserve, this is the important message here, you deserve to feel good too. You are worth it. You are loved. Every single person here, doesn't matter what you've done, you are worth it and you are loved, and you deserve to feel good and happy and right. Happiness is not, this is another thing, it's a Western thing that gets in our heads, and it's sad because we think that the ultimate goal of life is to be happy, and it's okay to not be happy. It's okay to just make it. So internalize that instead. Today, I'm not happy, but I made it, and that's okay. Keep that in your brain. I love that your chat is so active, the both of you guys. That's awesome that they're talking to you guys like that and being open. Let me step away and grab a drink. My throat.
Sure, take your time.
Yeah, I really appreciate you, and I'm gonna say it one time.
Dude, it is
just
more. It is more than okay. I'm sorry I didn't reach out. Like I didn't.
You didn't know.
You know
I put on. I mean, I've learned in 44 years how to put on a really good front, and it started when I was 2 years old. Did my parents know, that I was the isolated little kid? No. Did I fake it pretty much the whole time? Yeah. But is it something you can ever really fake, right? Deep down? No, right? It's a progression. It's a step-by-step, get yourself better, right? Feel worthy. I've had one relationship in my life that has been long-term. And why? Because most of the time when I meet someone, I don't feel like my life and myself are in a good enough spot to even consider trying to create a different type of relationship. And how isolating is that? And that stems from all the way back to, when I watched my parents, leave each other at whatever, 1 or 1.5 or 2 years old. And I know there's other people out there who've gone through the exact same thing. The exact same. People today. And so, I've always said it, right? I think you probably heard me say it, Jolly, many times. But the reason I stream, the reason I tell stories, the reason I tell about my failures or, when things didn't go right is because I don't want you guys to go through the same thing. Know your history or you're doomed to repeat it. If you can take any lesson from me, from the stories I tell, it's, there's some things don't do, right? Like, take that as a lesson and say, okay, Mahler did this, right? And it really, and he openly admits it effed him up. Maybe I should try to take a different path. You know what I'm saying? It's not, and I'm not trying to, and I don't want anybody's sympathy. It's just life. It's the way we've walked life as we try to make it. But what I do want is, if any of you are going through something similar, that you consider these stories and you consider them as history and don't repeat the ones that are bad, right? Don't do a Napoleon and attack Russia in the winter, Adolf Hitler. I mean, read a history book, right? Learn from these mistakes and be better when you are faced with the same challenge. That is kind of, what I want people to get out of some of the stories. But Thorne betrayed us. I mean, Josh, he did. We're gonna have to kill him. In GTA, I'm sorry.
Right.
Hi, Thor. How are you?
Hi. So just a thing. Thank you, Josh, for rating with 46. Thank
Wow.
you. That's an
Much
incredible
love,
thing.
Josh.
Hopefully somebody out there, please, in my chat or let me put the multi-stream up, share a little bit about your story. Um, do you have any struggles with mental health? Let's talk about it. For those new to the chat, we've all shared a little bit about our history with this, and again, I keep throwing. I have it pulled up here. Uh, let me find it. There's a neat graphic. Here it is, and it shows the number of respondents to this. Um, well, you know what? Here, I'll just go over it. There, the motivation for people to join. Are you ready for this? Number one was entertainment. Number two was to avoid boredom. Number three was to follow a specific streamer. Number four, a massive response for this one, was to be part of a community. I mean, guys, the next one, communicate with others. To make friendships. I mean, these are like the number one reasons that people are saying this. Guys, Twitch is a fantastic opportunity for us to interact with each other and love each other in a really big way. But 70%, 60 to 70% of Twitch users report having a mental illness and big stressors in life. This study calls them, what did it call them? Difficult life periods. That's crazy, guys. Like 70% of you guys are going through something right now. Like 70% of you. Let's talk about it. Let's just talk about it.
I want to take a quick opportunity here. I had a viewer specifically point out to Mahler and what Mahler just shared, that this viewer just went through essentially what you just described, that you went through. And then he said, even if you don't want sympathy, I want you to know you deserve peace and the things you want from relationships. So,
Thank you. I mean, it's hard. It's hard understanding your own self-worth and taking that into a relationship when you've had every other relationship in your life fail you in your mind, right? And that's, but divorce kind of feels that way for children. And it makes you question your self-worth. Yeah, they tell you it's not your fault, it's us, right? But a kid doesn't internalize it that way. A child sees it as, what did I do wrong? I should have been better, and they're always yelling at me or whatever, and they internalize it as them. And that's something we have to be really cautious of, especially 50% of relationships ending in divorce, right? With children. Therapy for children isn't necessarily a bad thing. I don't know. I mean, I probably could have helped. It probably could have helped me as a young person. But yeah, it is hard. It's hard to drum up the self-worth and put yourself into a relationship, right, where you've seen every other relationship fail, and hope it's going to work out, right? This is going to be the one, right? She's the one, right? My ex-girlfriend, she was the one. But because of my own insecurity or my own, lack of self-worth deep down, I walked away from a really good person for a really shitty reason. And I never should have. And it put me into a horrible state of depression for the last 4 years. So, but I appreciate that. I appreciate the sympathy. And we do all deserve a loving relationship and a good relationship. We all deserve that. But it takes, for some of us, there's more demons to work through, right? There's more skeletons that you have to manage. And yeah. But thank you.
I think that somebody in my chat just said something really well. There's two things.
Thank you, Josh.
Solitude
Wonderful
mentioned
to see you.
He's in EMS, and we tend to just bury our feelings. That, by the way, is a whole separate conversation.
Oh yeah.
The burden of this pandemic, and actually just the stuff we see on a daily basis. Whoo! Oh my God, I certainly have PTSD, no doubt. Um, and the burden of this pandemic on healthcare workers and EMS cannot be even quantified. That's a whole different thing that I hope at one point I want to do a stream about it, and I want to talk about it because I'm right there. I'm on the front lines. I'm in the hospital 3 days of the week, and actually coming up every day in a week. But somebody here said, this is Tumble Tum, says, especially in the last year where isolation has become the norm, places like Twitch have been a big help. While it had gotten better the last few years, depression and other mental health issues and conversations need to be normalized and not be sympathized like it has been in the past, or stigmatized, and it was the correction. So that is a topic that Moody Butterfly is very passionate about, is actually reducing that stigma. Um, um, we also have to be careful of going too far the other way, which is something we're just beginning to see, and we need to be very, very, very careful about this. We're starting to see people glamorizing mental illnesses. We have to be careful about that, but it's okay to, like we're doing literally right now, saying, guys, I have it. I'm here. This can be temporary or maybe not. I don't know, but I know that I'm going through it. So Moody Butterfly is a big, big proponent of destigmatizing mental illness and talking about myths associated with mental illness. So maybe she should be here any minute. Maybe I'll just let her take over the computer and talk about it. I think she would be a very good person to talk to about it. She loves it. She's very, very good at talking about it. She's very good at improvising that topic. So maybe we could talk about that. But Tumble Tum, exactly, good point. These do need to be normalized. Talking honestly with friends about, hey, look, I'm going to be honest, guys. Like, I'm not okay. I'm not okay today. That's okay. It's okay. I remember the first time I cried around a friend. It would have been 2 years ago at a concert, and some feelings that I had bottled up. And this event was way more important to me than it was to them. I just bottled them up, bottled them up, bottled them up. And I remember I was sharing the story and saying, thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much. And I bawled. Full blown, ugly cry, bawling, sobbing on the shoulders. And I wasn't judged. And I was loved. And I was held, you know? And I remember going, why? Why did it take 30 years for me to do that? You know? Like, why does it, guys? Anybody in chat? Does anybody know? Why?
No, we need to be a little bit more open with it. No, I certainly do. It's therapeutic, first of all.
Yeah.
Really.
It's good for everybody. It's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Why not? It's good to hear about. It's good to talk about. Why don't we?
It's
Again,
hard to
you
be
have to be
vulnerable.
careful.
Yes, you're right.
Well, it is. That's
It's
I think
hard to
the
be
issue right
vulnerable.
there. I don't want to be judged.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the biggest things I think that a lot of people today, especially younger people, right, are so afraid of. And I think that really perpetuates a lot of these problems is the whole judgments, right? That's kind of where the world is moving right now, trying to eliminate these. But kids, younger people who don't have life experience are judged constantly based on their choices, based on the decision they have to be whoever they want to be. And it just perpetuates this feeling of of not being worthy. And you're all worthy. I don't care what you decide you want to be. It doesn't matter. You're still an amazing human. And that's all that matters. And we have a lot of leadership in this world who don't have it correct, right? And continue to perpetuate this kind of thought process. And it's really sad, and we got to get past it as a society, as a human being. Got to get past it. Otherwise, our children are going to suffer even more than we are. And God forbid that world. Let's not get to that. Please.
I have a book. I read it on the charity stream day, and it's a book. I'm gonna shill it right now. I'm not making $0 from this, but I'm gonna shill it right now. My kids were at daycare, and
you want me to share that, Snoop?
And I saw this book, and I said, "Huh, what is this thing?" Picked it up, flipped through it, and I said, "Oh my God, it's a book called Worrysaurus." I'm going to try to find a link for it, and you guys can shill it to your chat because it deserves it. It's a fantastic book. The pictures are so cute. What it is a book about teaching kids about anxiety. And you talk about kids, oh my God, couldn't ask for a better book for it.
Jess, you're right.
We
Absolutely
have to
right.
make sure that my parents never talked about mental illness, ever, ever, ever. It was never a conversation. Hey, sometimes you're going to feel really, really down. And sometimes you might feel like you don't want to live anymore. And sometimes you might be scared for no reason and you don't understand why. And sometimes you'll shake. And sometimes you'll have these really weird feelings and you don't feel like getting out. And you're going to push away your friends and you don't understand why. And those are okay. Those are normal. And everybody has them. Sometimes forever, sometimes just for a little while. And sometimes things in life are going to happen that make you just want to give up. And maybe not like give up, but just give up and just wash your hands of it. And those are all okay, but you have to keep going. Here's the book in the private chat.
Thank you.
And there it is in my chat. Again, I'm making $0. That's not an affiliate link. It's not anything like that. That is literally just me saying this book was fantastic. I loved reading it to my children. It teaches them about anxiety in a really, really profound way.
If you guys are interested in that book, it's the Amazon link right there.
You know, because we didn't have that conversation. So it was culturally not appropriate to have that conversation when I was growing up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I really wish I had something like this, like growing up for sure.
Yeah,
Something,
agree.
just anything to open up about it and just even have a very basic understanding of what I was feeling or how to react to things or just anything would have been really nice.
Yeah, completely agree.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, in the 70s, you know, and somebody had mentioned generational, right? Generational differences and the way we grew up maybe back, you know, in my time versus the way the kids are growing up today, right? But, you know, it was very common, you know, that you didn't have, you know, your father and you didn't hug, right? You didn't kiss ever, right? That wasn't a thing. Saying I love you to your father, you know, it changed obviously as I got a little bit older, but it wasn't necessarily a thing, right? It was kind of that you've heard that saying. This is what I used to tell my nephews all the time, right? When they get hurt, rub some dirt on it. That was kind of the feeling on emotions and the mental state as I was growing up. Like, rub some dirt on it, kid. Get over it. You'll be fine. Keep it moving. Well, 35, 40 years later, right? There's no amount of dirt. I mean, all you have is a big ass sore wound full of dirt right now, and it's infected, okay? And that's what you got. It's not a way to live, right? I don't, it just, you know, I wish we would have had some more openness like we do today. And then be willing to take advantage of it, because that's a big thing as well. You know, is you saying to yourself, this will be helpful for me. I don't need to let my pride stand in the way of me getting help just because it might make me look like I'm struggling with something, right?
Yeah, I can remember the first time that I like cried in front of friends. I was so young, and I had hurt myself on the playground in elementary school, something like that. And I didn't really have a fatherly figure in my life. All I really had was my mother, who was very open and very okay with just emotional openness.
Hi, Viva.
And so I remember getting hurt on the playground and starting to cry. And one of my friends like comes over to me and goes, "Hey, suck it up, man up, don't cry." Like, and he said it in a well-meaning way because that's what he was taught, right? Like his, you know, we were very young, so obviously his you know, father taught him to be like that. And so when he saw me crying, he was like, "Hey, don't let other people see this," you know? And he was okay with it. Ironically, he turned out to be one of the most emotional people that I've ever met, and fantastic human being. But yeah, it just stuck with me, and I realized how like how much long-term effects that had on me. So definitely important to open up, especially as a kid.
But I mean, kids are so judged these days, right? So I can understand why I and a lot of other children who were going through those things didn't say anything, right? We put on that front of being lighthearted and the class clown. when deep down, right, there was real conversations that needed to be had. And there was such a stigma on going to a psychologist. Like
Yeah.
my mom, yeah, she was like, "Oh, we're all going to go see a psychologist." And of course, first thing you think of as a child, as a young person, early teens even, is that's admitting that I need help. Or what if my friends found out, that I couldn't cope on my own, right? It's all about the judgments, and that unfortunately puts us in kind of crappy situation, crappy mindsets, especially later on in life when we don't get rid of it or fix it. I have I have a lot in chat right now. I don't know exactly what to share, but
There's so much that I've received as well. Just a bunch of people talking about what was the word? Those adverse life events. What was it? Difficult life periods. Yeah. People talking about divorces and the anger they feel because of divorces. People saying "suck it up." Like I was told, "Suck it up" as a kid. Suck it up as a kid. Yep, we all were. That's the thing. There's a time and a place to tell a child, "Suck it up." There's a time and a place to tell an adult to suck it up. And most of the time, though, that ain't it, Chief. That ain't it. It's okay. One of the big issues that I see in the Western world, especially in regards to grief, and I've been on this soapbox for decades. Why do we wait until a funeral? I don't understand it. Because I think hold it together, let it all out at the funeral, hold it together, and then at the funeral it's okay to cry, but the moment that funeral's done, you better go back to normal. It doesn't feel normal. It doesn't feel right. Why can't I just let it out? Why can't I just be like, guys, I'm super not okay. I'm super duper not okay. And here's all the reasons why. And if you say it, in my experience, in my life, if I say it the first time, I'm in tears. I'm devastated.
Sure,
it's hard to talk about. If I say it the second time, I might still cry. If I say it the third time, it gets a little bit easier. And I might keep crying. And maybe the 8th time, I'm not crying anymore. But then the 15th time, I cry again. And I keep going. And I keep telling people, tell them. Until eventually, it just becomes matter of fact. I'm not okay. I miss my mom. I miss my brother. I miss my dog. And you're talking it through, and your brain is building these cognitive maps to say, this is life without them. And here's what it looks like. And it's okay. So I think it's so weird that we have this culture of just like, hold it together, keep it in. There's right times and wrong times. There's not. There is not. Any time is the right time. If you need to step away from work, hear it from me right now. Hear it from me right now. If you need to step into a back room and let it all out, you do not ever need to feel ashamed. You do not ever need to feel less than or weak. It's okay. I've been there. I've had that day. I've had that day twice in my 6-year career where I said, I cannot deal with this and I need to step away. And I let it all out for 15 minutes. And I stepped out. Sorry about that, guys. I'm feeling a lot better now. Hit the emotional reset button. I'm ready to get back to work. You do not need to be ashamed of it. You do not need to feel like a less than employee or have your coworkers make fun of you or anything like that. It is okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that topic of saying it the first time and 15th time, 8th time, like not crying any more than 15th time crying again, it's so incredibly just like relevant. And I think it's important to remember that it's not just like a steady gradient of a fall off. It's not just like a steady decline of emotion. It's it's a roller coaster. I'm feeling relatively okay now, and then tomorrow I could be bawling again, and then 2 days from now I could be relatively okay, and then the next day like I'm bawling again. It's it's no matter what the situation is, whether you lost a loved one or even just basic depression or the struggles, as small as the struggles may be, like if it's big to you, like who's there to say that something doesn't matter or something isn't as big to you as it feels.
Right. No, completely. Yeah, like anything that triggers it, right? Because because we all have those trigger points, right? That song that reminds you of that ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend, or that picture on the wall at your mom's house that every time you look at it reminds you of your grandfather or your grandmother, right? Just those little bits that completely turn that memory right back on. And even if it's a year away, or a year from now, or a year from the event, you're still allowed to grieve. It hits you, and it's okay. It's healthy.
Yeah.
So,
and I think to even pull it in further with likely most of our viewership, it could even be, that video game that reminds you of your best friend. Personal as a very personal thing for me.
Sure.
It's a rough one.
Yeah. But do you want to take a break from our stories and maybe go through some of the comments in chat? Let us as as human beings reset a little bit, and maybe throw out some other stuff from those folks.
Absolutely.
People.
Probably do a couple of them, and then maybe switch over to the call-in situation.
Right. Yeah. I have one that's really relevant to what we were talking about with the generational thing.
Mm-hmm.
And don't hate me, anybody, that I don't pick, your certain comment. Obviously, I'd love to talk all night and read everything. And I am reading everything, but I'm going to share this one from a friend. Let's see, possibly a generational thing. The previous generation grew up in a world where it was put in the work or don't eat, and because of that, a lot of us were taught to live that, despite it being obsolete advice in the current world. I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think that really touches on kind of what we were talking about with the way it was versus the way it is. I wanted to share that.
Yeah, generationally, it's completely irrelevant. In terms of, you just stated, don't work, you don't eat type of thing. It's I think younger generations definitely understand that food should essentially just be a basic necessity.
Me too, Jess.
We shouldn't just say forget
me too.
Humans, a human's ability to live because they can't afford it. It just,
right.
At least to me, it just doesn't make any sense to think that way. But to our parents, grandparents, great grandparents,
it made sense.
That's what it was.
It's what they were taught. It's what they knew. It's our struggle. I have a specific struggle with that when I try to explain to my father, who came from a different world, who was taught by his parents who came from a different world, about tolerance. And Dad, you can't say that, no, that's not acceptable anymore, right? And so it's hard to teach them that that there's a new way of the world, right? I think let's see, and something that kind of adds to that same comment that we were just talking about is it is there, always has been, but it's only recently become socially acceptable to say, hey, there's a problem here. It really wasn't that long ago where if you said you were struggling mentally, you got thrown away and the key was thrown out. Yeah,
absolutely.
And exactly. I mean, it's scary to think about, It's scary to think about.
Yeah.
But because, think about the people who went through World War II, right? The soldiers. What they saw. Maybe even the families who were affected in Paris or in Poland or anywhere else, right? During that just horrible event. And being treated like that. Being told, there's no mental problem here. But we'll go ahead and just isolate you from society because we think that'll fix it.
Yeah, I actually got a comment on the generational thing as well. Point on generational changes is huge. Humans evolved in small groups where everyone was critical for the group to survive. Now it's easy to feel alone when every individual is just a cog in a machine. We survive easier now, but we suffer all the more.
Yeah, it's true. Definitely relevant.
Yeah.
So, let's see. I saw a video recently of a professional consoler of 30 years. I'm not sure of that word. I don't remember his name, but his message was paraphrased. One of the hardest things I've ever have to do is tell a parent the reason their 24-year-old kid isn't taking off is because something you did is causing voices in their head so loud that they can't connect to who they are, or they're afraid because they know they're going to be undermined about it. It all links back to the parent. It's an interesting statement. Has a lot to do with it. It's what builds the nerves, right? It's what builds everything in your brain as you're developing as a child, is what you're taught. It's very powerful what you teach your children. It's really important. It really is. It is. And you build the wrong pathway inside somebody's brain just one time, and it's something they have to deal with for their lifetime.
Absolutely.
I'm so far behind. Let's see. I was a person, still sort of am a person, who has all of these emotions bottled up to the point where I want to break down, but I could just never do it. It wasn't until we had to put my dog down a few months ago where I finally broke. I cried for what felt like hours, but was only like 15 to 20 minutes. Well, I mean, you needed it. It's hard, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to. I know it was difficult, right? But you needed to get to that point because it's obviously horrible to bottle it all up. That's me saying it, which is really weird because I bottle everything up. So, I hope you feel better. I mean, I know it's still difficult, but a few months. Excellent. Thank you for the 2 months, man. At tier 2, dude, you're a mad lad. Appreciate you. All right, sorry about that. Go ahead, Jolly. What do you have?
Switching topics, I guess, slightly. Had a viewer that's been officially diagnosed with depression just last year, dealing with thoughts of suicide, and then they had their meds fall off about 2 weeks ago, and they attempted suicide and were on suicide watch for a while. Still have PTSD from many years ago. They were in a house fire. Surprised to be out of bed and doing something somewhat productive, because I've been struggling to get out of bed. Not sure why, but I'm really good at masking what I'm going through. I think we touched on that a lot, just hiding things. Yeah, coming off as just like the happiest person around, but just struggling day in, day out.
Yep.
Totally get that. Rough. It's really depression in general is so rough.
But I mean, that's. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Please.
I was just gonna say, like, you're not alone with that. And maybe your situation specifically is unique, in that nobody has exactly gone through exactly what you're going through. But the thoughts of suicide, the self-surprise that you're even getting up and getting out and doing anything, getting out of bed, even just for myself, just 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago, I disappeared from streaming because I was literally lying in bed day in and day out. I was getting out of bed to use the restroom and make food, frozen food that I could throw in the microwave, so it took no effort. I wasn't, showering nearly as often as I need to, just for hygiene's sake. and it's not an exact situation, but you're definitely not alone in that. And I know of multiple other people who have been going through similar things recently, not just not just random depression, but related to COVID, or like we were discussing earlier, not being able to get out and do the things that a lot of people did to feel better about themselves, and feel better in general. And just everyone being locked in is not helping that situation. But um, I think everybody, the fact that all three of us have shared that we've been through, depression. We were I don't know, Mahler, if you have been diagnosed with depression or not. If not, that's okay. I mean, um, just for anybody who has been diagnosed with depression, like, we get it. We've been through it. We understand, and um, it's one of the hardest things that, honestly, like, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Like, to have to deal with the lowest bottom barrel crippling depression. Like, it's the worst. It's really the worst.
It is the worst feeling, um, because it's so all encompassing. It wasn't until I was 26 that I even thought that I might be depressed, because we think of depression as sadness and crying and these things. For me, it was apathy. That's what it was. It was apathy. I didn't feel anything at all. And to be real with you, most days I still don't. And that was a really hard, weird thing. And I said, well, I'm not sad. I'm not sad. I still laugh. I still smile. But it was realizing, like, no, I really just most times don't feel anything at all. And, it's the worst feeling. Yeah, you're right. The worst feeling.
I've been there. I mean, that's, yeah. To 80% of the time, that's the way I cope with most of it, is just turning it off, right? Turning it off, and you create that turtle shell around you, and you can't hurt me because I'm not gonna feel it.
Yeah, and
Well,
that's especially true, and the scariest when you feel that way even towards yourself. Like,
yeah, yeah,
like, what can I do to myself that's actually gonna hurt, right?
yeah.
That's that spiral.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I gotta
Uh,
go ahead.
I have a viewer, a new follower, who asked, and I want your guys' input on this. I have my own thoughts, but I want your input on this too. He says, so how do you change your own mindset when you
Maverick,
come from a family where you
thanks for
don't
the
talk
follow,
about your
buddy.
problems or feelings?
Nate, I think I told you. Thank you as well.
At least from my take on it, I would say, finding people that you can open up with, people who are open, finding a community or a group of friends or people who don't mind sharing. And because it's tough to change that mindset on your own, right? But if you're surrounded by people who are doing it all the time, it makes it a lot easier. Not easy, but easier than it would be otherwise.
I think that's right.
Yeah. I don't know how to answer that personally, because I don't. I I don't. It's things like this, right? Things like this that give me the opportunity to actually put into perspective life experiences and where I need to continue to get better. Um, do I get better on a daily basis? Do I know what I need to do and do it? Not all the time. I'm just gonna be real, you know. Are there things I need to handle in life? Yeah, but do I do it? No. Sometimes I just don't feel like it. Um, and that probably goes back to what you were saying, Fuzzy, with feeling, that feeling of apathy. I don't want, right, to put myself into that situation. So it's things like this. It's personal calls with Fuzzy, personal calls with Jolly, personal calls um, with anybody other than my family. It seems more often these days. Um, Friends that I've met here, because for me, I relate more with you guys than I do with my own family. Same thing with, I mean, that's why I love streaming, right? It's because we can have real conversation. and we're all very much going through similar things, right? We're all very much similar people.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't. I probably need to take better steps towards, getting some of those out. But I mean, 44, so I mean, how much more do I have to go? Just kidding. I'm joking.
Hopefully a long
joking.
time.
Yeah,
Right,
another
I'm hoping for a
45
really long
years.
time.
I can make it.
Yeah.
Rub some dirt on
I'm
it. It'll
hoping
be
for
fine.
forever.
I agree.
You rub some dirt on it. Suck it
Rub
up.
some dirt on it. Suck it up. Jeez. I do have one from a very good friend of the stream. I appreciate seeing you. But he said it's a good topic and discussion, by the way. Mental health is a big issue currently. My son is feeling the effects of not going to school in person. Very, very. That's very relevant. It's.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it's scary.
40% increase
Yeah.
psychiatric hospitalizations. That's
Yeah.
For those that don't know, that's an insane number. I mean, 40% just sounds, oh yeah, no, that's an insane number. These are lives. These are
A
people's
lot
lives.
of people.
Yeah,
A lot
these
of people.
lives.
There's 380 million people in the United States alone. 40%, folks. That's over what, 150,000, 140,000, or 140 million? Excuse me.
Right. I mean, it's a
Am I
lot.
doing that right? I'm not doing good math. I'm not doing good math. I math good.
This is a mental health stream, not a math
Yeah,
stream.
it's not a math stream. Don't
Goodness.
at me.
So you brought something up that I want to, and it's going to sound like a platitude, and I'm sorry, but it's something I tell my patients all the time because I see it constantly. I see it. I mean, dude, literally every single day I see it. People who are upset because they don't have a relationship with their parents. I see it a lot in
I
adolescents.
have the
They're
alerts
like, I don't have a
off,
good
guys.
relationship with my parents.
Sorry about that.
And I say, well, who said you had to?
But thank
Who said you had to? Like, remind me, where's that written? Where's the contract? I myself,
you. You're right, Ted.
okay, just this last week, literally just this last week, my own mother did something, and she was a terrible mother. I believe that she tried her best. I truly do. I believe she tried, but she was a terrible mother and has been a terrible grandmother for my son. And I said, well, the least you could do is be a good grandma, right? Like if you were a bad mom, you could at least be a good grandma.
Yeah.
And then she let me down. I said, this, like in my brain, I said, this is the last time. And so I had to take that time this very week, to remind me, like, who said that I had to maintain that relationship? And it doesn't mean it hurts any less. Of course it hurts. It sucks. It's it's the worst. But who said that you have to? The classic saying of, blood is thicker than water. No. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
Bob, good to see you, friend. How you doing tonight?
That's the truth. You choose your friends.
Go ahead, Night Owl.
You don't choose your family.
Okay?
And it's okay to not get along with them.
No problem.
It's okay
if you need to talk, we're here.
Choose to interact with people and seek comfort and solace in other people. You don't need it to be your parents, and that's okay. So for anybody who needed to hear that message, I hope you heard it, because I say it literally like every day. Who said you have to be okay with your parents?
Drink the juice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's
Yeah, much
the
love
parent
to you,
thing
brother.
is very
Go get
it's
some
very
rest.
difficult to
Like I
talk
said,
about just
we're here for
personally.
you.
It's everybody goes through their own situations with their parents, and whether it's you don't have either parent, you don't have one or the other, or you have both and they treat you okay, or one's not good, the other's good, like they're, and what is good, right? I think most parents try their best, but it's always just a shame when their best isn't even
close to
okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame. It's just a shame.
Yeah, I would like to touch on that because I actually had my mother about a year ago, I would say, ask me if it was her fault that I was the way I am, that I haven't had a good relationship, that things turned out for me like they have. And of course, I said no, because it's not her fault. But did she provide me with any real example of what a relationship should be? No. I don't know how to emphasize the word no any more than absolutely not. And did that affect a young kid growing up who, you know, through the age of 16 saw 4 different fathers come through the door, right? Yeah, of course it does.
Yeah.
Of course it does. Is that part of the reason why I'm fearful of jumping into a relationship? And, you know, without it being perfect? Yeah, probably. Probably. But they've done it, yeah, they've shitty jobs sometimes. But, you know, I don't know. Yeah, they're human beings. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say
they
that
are.
because there's some of us out there, right, who maybe on our second marriage or on our third marriage even. And I don't want you to think I'm judging by any. What I want you to consider though is that if you don't share or show your children what a real relationship is, they're never going to be able to understand what it means. It's going to be hard. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to go onto a crazy soapbox about my own personal life, the way I think. Yeah. But it help. You know, it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference showing children what good relationships are. And I have a feeling that a lot of us have instances of not being shown that path very well.
A to the strong, the individual from earlier, he says it's not right for parents to seek absolution from their kids either, and I think you need to hear that. It might not feel like a slight or inappropriate because it's your mom, but it's not right for her to do that to you, and you need to know that.
I know. She's always been the guilt trip mom.
Yeah.
Always, my whole life.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
it's her go-to. So, and that's
I don't
probably
mean to
part
laugh.
of. I mean, right? Like, yeah. Can you guys relate? Can anybody out there relate? I'm sure you can. But
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's just, you know, own up to it. I guess I don't know. But yeah, I've, with her especially. Unfortunately, I take the stance that Buzzy talked about before, which is being totally apathetic to it all. I just put up my shell. Like, okay, yep, I don't know what she's saying right now, but I'm just gonna let all this stuff bounce off, and we're just gonna move on from, it, you know. So.
Do you think we should we open it up now? Do we
Yeah, I
we
think
should?
so.
I think so. Only 4.
Yeah, I think there's
yeah.
2 folks waiting.
Cool,
And
some folks.
to
Should we?
all of the chats as well, we can just say again,
Yeah.
you can follow a link. Each of us have a link to my Discord server. Feel free to leave afterwards if you'd like. It's not
Yep.
meant for, you know, if you want to just it's meant for this right now.
Yeah. If
To
anybody
just
would
hop
like
into
to share.
the if you'd like to share your own story or your own struggles or just any input on the topics or anything we've talked about today, we have a mental health waiting room. There are 2 folks in there right now. Feel free to hop in there. You can't speak while you're in there, but we will grab folks. One of us will add you and then add you to the call, add you on Discord as a friend and then add you to the call. And then we can talk with you.
Absolutely. Should we allow people to filter in and perhaps take a moment, take a couple of minutes to just step away, take a little break?
Yeah, maybe we'll do
Yeah,
few minutes.
I like that. That gives me I need to handle something in real life. Moody is here and I had a bit of a rough day, so I need to go give some love.
Okay.
So
absolutely.
let's take a quick let's shoot for a 5-minute breather. Set a little timer.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Come
Let's
back
do that.
at around 18.
Sounds good.
Yep. Let's do
Sounds good. Okay.
You guys in?
All right, so I'm gonna do that. Actually, I'm not gonna do that because I want to read some of these. There we go. All right, Tavia, I see all of your messages, and I'm sorry that I haven't been able to keep up with it. But I really like what you just said. I don't think my mother ever attempted to guilt trip me. I think she just genuinely couldn't comprehend anything being her fault. It's not diagnosed, but I think it's pretty obvious she struggles with narcissism. And it puts us in this weird situation where I don't like to dislike her, but it's clearly healthier for me to keep my distance because any relationship at all is one-sided and self-serving on her end. Caveat, I can very much relate to a lot of that. I can. Yeah, I think maybe you and I are relative. Just kidding. I realize that I should be here for this instead of sitting out. I'm just numb. That's all. I'll be fine. Okay, Night Owl. Night Owl, we love you, man. And I know that some of this doesn't like hit home exactly for you, or like you don't think it it doesn't exactly fit with what you're going through. But I still want you to understand that it's all about us coming together as a family, as a community, and holding each other up. The life is a long journey. I think you've heard me say it. If you've been in stream, you've heard me say it. Life is a long journey. It's a long, dark tunnel, and there's little bits of light in between every once in a while. Well, walking with a friend through that tunnel until you get to those periods of light is much easier than walking it alone. So that's what I want you to think about. You're here with friends. We absolutely adore you. We love having you around. We love gaming with you, speaking with you, and I love hearing your voice when I'm in Yubi's chat. Um, and so, even though your problems may be somewhat specific to you, you have people to walk with you through this journey. Okay, I want you to know that. That's the important part of all of this. I can process the emotions of what I feel like, not exactly, but what it can be like. And if you can think about what it can be, you can start making strides towards reaching that goal. Right? That's part of the problem with some people. Is it's even hard for some of us to envision what being healthy at the end of this would be like. So when you're taking a shot in the dark, right, and you don't know where you really need to end up, how do you work towards that direction? It's hard. It's really difficult. So if you can envision what it would be like to feel better, right, now you can start making real steps towards getting. Someone once said the only thing worse than knowing that your life is inevitably pointless and that you're going to die in the end anyway is to know this is the case but have nobody to share it with. I could not agree. I could not agree more. We're here for you, buddy. That's right. That's right. We are. All right. Praetorian, how are you, friend? How you been? Nice to see you. I always thought I had some of that apathetic part to me. And I think now I absorbed a lot more than I think I do. And it comes crashing down sometimes. I agree. Like I think that's the same thing, very very similar for me. Is I create the shell, right? But not everything's bouncing off. There's some that are really hitting inside. And when you finally do open it up and realize how much hurt there is, right? It just crushes. Yeah. Don't be modding then, Night Owl. Don't worry about the mod right now. We have a whole chat full of amazing people, and I really don't think we're gonna need much modding. So be part of it, because this is for you just as much as it is for me, as it is for anyone else who is listening in. Okay. Lots of thoughts from experiences. 11 years ago, I was in a super dark place. Yeah. Well, I hope you're better now, Islander. I think you are. I love our conversations. I love the fact that you and I have had a chance to get to know each other through different streams, through personal conversation. I certainly look forward to more. But, we're all in this together, We really are. This is the easiest channel to mod. Mahler invites the trolls and then turns them into viewers. Let's go! And guys, anybody who came in, Deadpool, thank you so much for the follow. Praetorian, thank you for the follow. Maverick, I think I said that an hour ago. Nate, Nazi, thank you guys for the follow. I have the alerts off because it was at the beginning, it was interrupting our conversations. I think you guys can all understand that I kind of wanted to make sure that we kind of had a focus for us and for the conversation and for you guys to talk about. So I hope that's okay. You have heard how I am going from Jolly, bringing that up. Phase. A shell cannot be shattered by brute force, not from the outside, not from the inside. It is specifically designed to be heavily defensive against that type of assault for your own safety, but it can be chipped away, and over time it'll soften through. Yeah, exactly. Praetorian, don't feel ashamed or anything like you can't share Night Owl. We're all in a similar space, and it sounds like in a similar space, sounds like, and we can be here for each other. Please. Maybe thousands of miles away, but I got you. I love you guys. I love you guys.
I'm back. How are you, Mahler?
Damn it! I didn't take a break. I'm gonna step away for like 30 seconds though.
Shame.
Okay, I've been talking to everybody in chat, just kind of, recapping and reading everything, having some convos with people. So, give me a second. Yeah, give me a second. I'm gonna run to the potty and just step away. I'm gonna be honest. My room is warm right now, and my ass is sweating. So I got. I'll be right back. I love you guys. All right, I'll be right back, guys. I'll see you in a minute.
Jolly Mahler forgot to take a break. He got distracted. So
that's fine. That's okay.
What can you do about it?
No problem. Yeah.
Yeah. What can you do? So I do want to take a moment while we're in intermission here to say thanks for setting all this up, man.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just me. We all kind of played a part in it, and I appreciate it as well.
I mean, come on. You definitely played a large role in setting it up, offering your Discord up and everything like that. So I wanted to say thanks.
Yeah, no, it's no problem at all. Mahler and I have been doing these for better part of 5-6 months now, every couple of months, and it's always very productive and very positive, and just I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm here for it as well. It's very nice to run into people with whom you can have that candid conversation with, and remind people out there that, well, again, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Muller.
Thank you. Our dog is being a butthead. Stubborn as the day is long.
Is it weird for you? I have to ask. Is it weird for you playing with James?
With his name being James?
Right.
No, I've learned it. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
it throws me for a loop.
No, yeah. At first it was like every James I came across, right? I was like, God dang it, another James.
I can't.
But no, it's all good. It's all good.
So let's see how many people we have waiting here.
Things have turned around by choice, not as a coincidence. Things that I've had to learn and study have been based around no sugarcoating, and has opened doors in other ways to deal with hardships. Yeah, it's helpful when you're honest with yourself.
So
maybe you are the break.
Have It's Me Snoops added, or if you add them, either works.
Hey Kiwi, how are you?
I do.
Great.
I just bully James in the city all the time. I hear ya. Yeah, Snoop's a good guy. And I want to say, while we're setting this up, right, while we're bringing in the first guest, thank you for everyone who's been here, who's listened in, if you've been lurking, if you've been chatting, if you've been sharing your stories. Um, it means a lot, and I hope in some way, whether very minimal or a ton, this has helped. Um, at the very least, to know that you guys are not alone and we're in this together. So I just want to put that out there. Thank you for each of you, all the raids, everybody who's come through. Um, appreciate it. We truly do, truly feel a ton of just gratefulness, and I'm humbled by the by the support. And you guys all coming through, and we'll do this more often for sure.
Ditto.
Hi, Snoops.
Hi, fellas.
How
Hi there.
are-
So we out here talking, telling stories and everything, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep.
How you doing tonight? You definitely have shared in my chat
Yep.
quite a bit.
I
How you
have
feeling?
shared. Like, I'm good as of tonight, just overall. But talking about this definitely is helping a lot. Definitely is helping me share, talking to you guys and all that. Obviously, is definitely it just takes a little bit of a weight off of you.
Appreciate that.
Right. Yeah,
It definitely, yeah,
appreciate that.
it is a big help. Like it's like I was saying, sometimes the first time it's really really hard, and I feel like for me personally, and not for everybody. I want to be clear about that. Not for everybody. For me personally, and for a lot of people, if you just go out and you talk about it and talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, it becomes different in your brain, and you accept it differently.
Right.
So, what do you want to talk about, Snoops?
Well, the first main thing that I actually just do want to talk about just a little bit is just my mental state and how much of a rabbit hole it's just went downhill into, like just growing up a lot. Because growing up I moved around a lot, didn't really have my dad around much. My mom was just going in and out of relationships. I think at one point in like a single school year I moved like 4 different schools at one point within the same year. And it was just a bunch of that. But the main point where my life actually started turning around was when I was like 8 or 9. My mother, who I will claim is actually clean now and everything, she was dating some guy. They were getting into drugs and all that. So it was rough. It was rough around that time. That's where I found out stuff about me personally, about my life and how I am. But it was just rough on my mental state as well, because it just wasn't the best of time. Because it's just like I have all this new stuff being thrown at me that I can't comprehend, or necessarily it's just not that I can't comprehend it, but I'm just like too young to truly understand it, how I can now. But it's just a bunch of just moving around, just going from place to place, not being able to settle, just drugs here, drugs there. It's just been absolutely rough. And then just all of a sudden I just snapped at one point, or at least I would like to say it like that's how I would put it, honestly. It's like I just snapped. My mental state wasn't there anymore. I just felt like a completely different person. Like at one point, and it wasn't until I looked into it just like a little bit ago, like not that long ago, to where I was looking into it, where I felt like I had some sort of personality disorder and whatnot, because I felt like every time something happened to me, or I would get so upset to the point to where I just wanted to just break down and stuff like that, I would just snap out of just my normal self, and I would just be somebody completely different. Like somebody that would like the suffering but will not really acknowledge it. It's just like that person knows that they're hurting, but they just talk about it nonchalantly. They talk about it like like it's not actually happening to them, but happening to someone else, which is actually true because it was just an alternate personality of mine that I would consider that I had. But it wasn't until recently where I looked into it and I just felt like that it was something that I needed to get checked out and stuff like that. And right now, like with the position that I put myself in, with the people I talk to all the time, like you guys, I feel like I'm in like a better spot, but I felt like it just needs to be talked about because it's like this kind of mental illness is it's something. I mean, obviously you don't really think about it much or be like, oh, this person has, you know, some sort of personality disorder and whatnot, or psychosis or anything like this. But it's something that I've thought about, and it's something that I've lived through to the point to where I've thought I've had it and that I thought I needed to get diagnosed by somebody like a professional to see if I do have something like that. And I wanted to take the steps to eventually get that fixed. So it's just been rough, like all around because of everything that has happened to me.
It is really rough. You know, I think if you aren't already, it's important to. So there are like three main types of like therapy that you can do. You can talk to a therapist. These are typically social workers, and they are really good with like talk therapy and things like that. They also do CBT, DBT, and a number of other things. I don't want to get into all that, but these are acronyms you're going to hear and you're going to have to be familiar with. Um, and they can also help guide you and challenge your own um, thoughts about yourself and thoughts about the world. So, therapist, they cannot prescribe medication. Psychologists, typically they take a more psychoanalytical approach, a little bit more Freudian, a little bit more cerebral, less focused on like the CBT, DBT, but they have elements of those. But that's another thing, psychoanalytical therapy. And then you have psychiatrists, typically pretty low on the therapy route, but pretty high on the medication route. Almost never with a psychiatrist you're going to get therapy, which is going to change your mental, but you're going to get medication which can help make you more open to receiving therapy. So if you aren't already hooked up with one of those three, I would highly encourage it because obviously we are not therapists, but good on you for recognizing that, hey, look, I'm going through some stuff and I don't think that what I'm going through is like right and I need help. I think that for me personally, there was a lot of shame because I felt like, well, if I can't handle this on my own, then I failed somewhere. I'm weak and I failed. And I even still, full disclosure, even still, I don't take medication for what I struggle with. I don't. I'm very metaverse. I hate even taking ibuprofen. Hate it. So I struggle with that side of things, and that's something I have to battle with. But you should definitely consider. You should look into it. At minimum, look into it. I would never say to anybody you need a shrink, but you should definitely look into it if you think that is good for you. And good on you for recognizing that you have these struggles.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
also want to say
it's
that I also want to say really quickly that there was just like one thing I picked up on from you, and you said that you felt these things about yourself, and you felt like you wanted to find a way to fix them. Just real quick, I think something that helped me was recognizing not to necessarily think that you're broken or something is broken and needs fixing, rather to just say like this is going on and I need a way to manage it, to deal with it, and live
Yes,
with it.
100%. Yeah, you are not broken.
Yeah,
You are not
you're
broken.
you're
You
a
do not need
beautiful
fixing.
human, Snoops. You're a beautiful human, man.
That's
And
a
yeah,
that's a
we're
the,
topic.
you don't
the
Go ahead, Muller.
I was just gonna say the first step. I mean, is just acknowledging that there are steps you need to take, right, to get yourself into a better state of mind. Um, and your first is already opening up, right, and interacting just on a gaming level. I mean, it's so simple, and people think gaming is just kid stuff, but the interaction is real, right? The games that we played together and the feeling of being included is big. But then taking the extra steps, right? When you know that there's some things you need to work on,
Absolutely.
and moving forward with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here's the thing: the game is fake, but the adventures are real. You know.
I mean, the people are real. That's the other thing, right? It doesn't
Right.
matter what character you're putting on, right? You're still a human being, and the interaction, most of the interaction, is real.
Absolutely.
Some is obviously contrived.
yeah, and that's just what I like about being in the city with you guys, because it's like I've known KG personally for quite a while. I
Thanks
think
for
it
the
was
follow,
like
Casperino.
7 years or
Appreciate
something
you.
like that. I've just known KG personally on like for so long, and he's just been a good friend of mine. Then it's like, okay, well, at least there's somebody in the city that I can talk to, help me get like into the rhythm of being like, okay, like get me out of my comfort zone, like in the city. And then I met Thorn, and then James and Byron and all and everybody, and then we just always have fun. Especially last night, taking James's money is always fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I have a belief, and this is just a personal belief. So take it for what it is. Um, by and large, most mental illness is not a you thing. It's not a. It's not stuck up here. We have to understand that the whole world is struggling, and we all experience that struggle, and we pick up on it. And I think it causes those behavioral responses, and it causes our thinking to shift. So we have to realize that everybody is going through things, and the whole world is looking funky, right? So that's the other thing too. Is I guess here's the point succinctly. When we think of mental illness, we think of my brain is not working right. I have a problem. We all have problems, and we all internalize the problems of the world, and that can cause mental illness 100%. So don't think of this as a personal, like, this is me and I have a problem. I have a mental illness. No, 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 no. We all have issues in the world, and you manifest your reaction to that differently, and that's okay. Maybe a different way to look at it. Instead of saying I need fixing, you know, the world needs fixing, and you can be a part of that. Streams like this are a small, very small part of that. Let's fix the world so people don't have to feel anxious about the state of things. Right? I remember September 11th. Do you guys remember the anxiety around that? Those of us who are old enough, do you remember the anxiety? It was pervasive. It was everywhere you went, everywhere. How can you not develop an anxiety disorder from that? How can you not?
Right?
So the whole world is going through its stuff. So you don't need fixing, buddy. We can use your experience to make the world a better place.
Yeah, and it's like I mentioned this in Mahler's chat earlier, but it's just like one of the worst times mentally for me, other than just like going from place to place and growing up like around drug use and all that, was literally my freshman year of high school was the worst. And it was at that point to where it's like a bunch of stuff was happening. People didn't like me as much, which was whatever. Like that's I'm just gonna find that everywhere I go. But I mean, a bunch of police cases, all this stuff. I don't want to go too much into detail because there's a lot of legal stuff that I had to do against the put against the school and all, but it was just so bad. I literally tried going to some sort of counseling because of everything that's happened before me and all that stuff, and then that was sort of failed, I would say, because it just didn't feel right. And not that counseling is bad or anything. Obviously, everybody's different. Everybody likes to cope a certain way, but just the place that I was going to for that just wasn't the best for it. It's a local place, but it really wasn't the best. Um, and now there's like other places around here. There's one on campus here that actually does like therapy stuff for free, pretty much, and that's the place that we're looking into right now. And one of my cousins went there, and it's helped them. But it's just with high school though, with how bad everything was, I was on antidepressants, and what I thought was, just me being depressed because of just my life. As soon as I left that school and was out of that environment, away from the toxicity that was surrounding me every day, um, I just felt a little bit better. I didn't really need uh, the antidepressants anymore, and I was I was fine for a while. And then eventually it's just like now I'm just a little crazy again. Now it's like to the point to where I'm acknowledging it. I finally understand, and I'm wanting to take the steps to get better and to find peace in my mental state.
That is
It's huge.
that is the goal. That is the goal. Not happiness, not happiness, but peace. 100%. And you hit on something there. That's a very important thing. Sometimes removing yourself from a situation is all you need. Like that's precisely what I'm talking about when I say the whole world is sick. You know, sometimes just being like, I need a Snoop space. I need a space for Snoops where Snoops makes all the shots, and I don't have to worry about all of that. You have to be careful not to isolate. You have to be very careful about that. But saying like it's okay for me to have a space, and it's okay for me to invite people into that space who share those same opinions as me, and to be okay in that space. And but don't let yourself feel like, well, hey, now that these problems are creeping back, something is wrong. I failed somewhere, or something is not adding up. That's not true. You know, this might be a thing you have to deal with, and I'm just going to be the first to tell you, it might be a lifelong thing. It might not. I hope not. I hope for your sake, but it's okay to go, to go and seek help. Check that out. Check that out and follow up with me. Check that out with the campus and follow up with me. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, because it's just like after I left the high school and everything, there was like a year and a half or so to where I shut myself out from like ever leaving my house. I didn't want to go play basketball at the park anymore just because of like all the things that's happened to me at the high school, and everything that's happened to me like because of like the people I was around just made me just hate being around people, because like, how was I able to trust anybody ever again after all the stuff that has happened with like all of the legal cases that I had to go through? It's just like, how can I trust anybody ever again? So I shut myself out from the physical world for well over a year or so, while just doing like online schooling, finishing all that, and just not really having friends around me anymore, because it's like they've all either just left this area or they were just assholes to begin with.
Sure.
Addition by subtraction in some cases, I'm sure.
Yep, indeed. Indeed. That is another big topic. Um, like attracts like. And when we are damaged, we seek people who understand us. But we have to be very, very careful, because it's very easy for us to, in those vulnerable states, attract people into our lives who only will bring us down, who are not as far on the journey to recovery and self discovery and self actualization as we are. And so when we are ready to get well, they aren't. And they can keep us in this quagmire of unhealthiness. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, and that I just love just hanging out with all of you guys, and everybody that I've met within like the past few months has just been absolutely amazing, because it's like all the people that I've talked to, all the people that I hang out with on a daily basis, you guys I get to see like in your streams and also in the city, or it just it's awesome, because it's like pretty much the only people that I really hang out with anymore are just everybody that I've met through streams and whatnot through the past few years and all that. So it's just been one community going into a new one. Then I'm part of like all these different communities and all these different groups of friends, and it's just been completely awesome.
That's great, man.
Love to
Um,
have it.
Yeah,
It's been amazing getting to know you.
he said it. He said it. It's been great. I
It has been.
you can say thank you all you want, but
Yeah.
it should be us thanking you. Thank
Listen,
you
yeah.
for being around, and thank you for letting us get to know you tonight and otherwise. Thank you. It has been great. P.S. Everybody, a little shout out. Snoops is a streamer, and he's up and trying to get his feet up underneath him. So be sure to give him give him
Come
a
on.
love. But
There we go. Follow that link.
Definitely gonna drop.
Follow
I'm
that
definitely
link
gonna go
right
drop
there.
you a follow and swing by sometime. It'd be great getting
Yeah.
to know you.
Yeah, he's a good guy, real good guy. So thank you for sharing your story, Snoops. And,
Yeah, thanks,
and
Snoops.
I expect
Yeah,
follow-ups.
totally. I will
expect follow-ups.
definitely keep you up to date with everything.
Do so. You know where to find me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
I can speak for probably everyone to say that, messages are available. We're here for you if you need somebody to talk to. If you want to shoot messages, if you want to talk in game or whatever, don't
Absolutely.
hesitate. Don't hesitate if you need something. Okay.
That's it. That's it.
Totally. Yep.
Well, thank you, Snoops. Appreciate you so much. Love you, bud.
Yeah, thank you
Beautiful,
guys
buddy.
for being here and letting me share my story. And Llama, appreciate meeting you and talking with you.
Likewise.
And
Take it easy, buddy.
Mahler and Fuzzy, I will eventually see you guys in the city sometime.
Fair.
You will.
Fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. Have a lovely night. Thank you for sharing. It takes a
No
lot of
problem.
strength, so appreciate you.
Yep. All right. Have a good night, guys.
You as
Love
well.
you,
Take
bud.
care.
Good night. Love that guy.
These are
Love
great.
him.
He seems
Great
great.
guy.
Yeah.
Great.
He seems like a
Appreciate
fantastic.
Super good guy. Love him to death.
Yeah, I can bring the next person in. Got him
Sure.
added.
Can we just take a step away though? Can we be like,
Yeah.
like how cool it is that we're doing this? Can we like,
Oh.
can we like remove ourselves? This
I
is,
pulled a muscle. Oh,
this is the coolest thing.
no, this is good. This is
This is
good.
coolest
Good.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm so I already said it though. I'm so thankful that
Yeah.
you guys, all of you out there, have come through and,
This is
and
just the
are
coolest
sharing your stories and are connecting with people on real levels, right? Not just video games, but real levels. And it means a lot. I think to all of us who we're trying to do this for everyone, including ourselves, that you are all here.
Yeah, I love it.
Love you, Night Owl.
Who's
Get
next?
some sleep or
Will be
whatever you
Small
may
Fry.
do. Love to see you,
Also
man.
a streamer. We'll drop a.
Love to see you.
Oh yeah, gotta shout those people out.
I'm not a streamer.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
are.
you are.
Stop now.
The guy.
Who's last playing Apex? Click on that link right there.
And for Fuzzy's reference, it's Smoy Fry. Instead of an L, it's an I.
Oh,
Boy.
okay. Hi, Smoy Fry.
Hi. You just call me small.
I thought it was. Wait a minute. This whole time I've been calling him the wrong name. What?
Look,
No,
don't-
well,
wait. Has
No,
this
no,
name changed
you've been-
recently? What's
you've
going
been doing fine.
No,
Trust
it's
me.
yeah.
Oh, it feels like such a dink.
Well,
Hi,
nice to meet you.
Smoy
Thank you for
Fry.
being
How
here.
you doing, buddy?
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
I'm hanging in there. How you guys all doing tonight?
Good.
I mean,
Doing
I've
okay.
been enjoying the little mental health talk.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having
Yeah.
me here.
Of course.
Pleasure's ours, really.
So in the interim, I actually drafted up this whole conversation as much as I could. Like I said, thank you for having me here. For those who don't know, my name is Cody. Other people might know me as Small Fry. I've been personally diagnosed with depression and anxiety for about 2 or 3 years now, but have definitely dealt with the effects of it since before that time. This last year in particular hasn't been kind in the progress that I felt like I was making. For a little bit of a background, I come from a pretty broken family, which is something I don't talk about too much. My biological mother and my father both abused drugs, and I believe that continued throughout my mother's pregnancy. My father had quit once I was born, while my mother, I have been told, continued to abuse them, in which led to a pretty traumatic event in my youth when I was probably about 3 or 4, I'm guessing, um, which is one of the earliest memories that I can recollect, and it's painted very vividly, which ultimately led to my mother and my father formally splitting up. And after some court-related events, I started living with exclusively my father as my only parent until about the age of 9, where my father remarried, and I finally had someone I can call my mother after she was able to break through a period of me refusing to open up, which, as if you couldn't decipher from that, I kind of closed myself off to people in general after my mother and my father split. Very closed off individual. My father is a former Air Force veteran and a strong proponent of the suck it up, man up talk. Him being a single parent while raising me was only really around after long shifts at his job, which meant maybe only seeing him for dinner and before being dropped off at school. I was pretty much raised by my teachers, anyone who was babysitting me. I found myself to be a very soft and emotional person. I vaguely remember developing a bit of a disdain for my own father to the point where I wanted to be nothing like him, which may or may not have led to wanting to be this soft emotional person, since he was a big proponent of the whole suck it up, man up. When my father married my stepmother, who I will probably just call mom for the rest of this conversation, she, once again, after a period of me refusing to open up, allowed me to be a soft and emotional person, which was the first time I felt emotionally free, some kind of emotional freedom. In school early on, I was a smart, straight A student up until about middle school, where I decided to focus more on my social life, to the point where my grades suffered, and I had the mentality of friends are the most important thing of life because they'll always be there for you. So in a way, I bet all my chips on developing a really tight-knit friend group, since I knew I needed the support and love from them, because I couldn't say I had gotten much care, love, or understanding from anyone else in my life at that point in time. Eventually, my father and my mother divorced, and once again, I was left alone with a broken family, a hurt heart, and another vivid memory of which, while a vivid memory which brings me back to the trauma of my biological mother and my father when I was younger. And to make a long story short, fast forward to today, and while I still have some friends I talk to regularly, most of them are people I met outside of school or after graduation. And maybe this coupled with the whole COVID situation, I find myself to be increasingly isolated more so than I've been in my childhood. Most of my friends outside the realm of the internet have moved away or started big life-changing moments in their life where their attention is required, such as jobs or children, so on. This all happened soon after the fallout of a girl who I dated for roughly 7 years since I was a sophomore in high school. We were engaged at the time, and it was one of the worst and rough breakups I've ever endured. And that's when I finally took the jump to seeing a doctor about my suicidal thoughts, and I was diagnosed with depression. This all coupled with losing a very well-paying job due to COVID closures, which also marked the end of me being able to take prescribed antidepressants. As this happened, I started looking to date other people, and in the past year, I was in this relationship that was perfect. It was great. Everything was super nice and happy, and she was a proponent of being vulnerable and allowing you to express and show your emotions, and we had no issues. And then she wanted to split up because she felt that she wasn't in the right headspace herself and wanted to focus on herself. There was some personal issues she wanted to attend to, and I understand and I understood and still understand that decision and respect it wholeheartedly. And I do believe self-care is super important, especially if you're willing to battle that demon and it's something that you feel that needs to be done on your own. But I am often finding myself continuously thinking thoughts like, this ideal relationship, which had no issues at all, couldn't even last, and I find myself more alone than I ever had been. The whole last year or so has been really rough, and I'm thankful for the people I have in my life to support, who are willing to support me and listen and let me have these moments of weakness and vulnerabilities without having to be in fear of somebody exploiting them. That's about it. That's what I got.
Wow.
Sorry to unpack.
No, sorry, nothing. Thank you. Thank you for unpacking. You have a whole lot going on, my friend. Like, that's a hell of a story.
Yeah.
You have a lot of trauma, recent trauma. I I can't do much, but I'm gonna try to send you a couple bucks and try to help you out with the. I'm insisting on it. You can shake your head all you want. I'm gonna send you a couple bucks.
They're just gonna go to llama, I promise.
He's not lying.
He's not kidding.
He's
He's
not
not
kidding.
kidding.
In the past 72 hours, I have given this man over almost
lot.
$2,000.
Whoa!
So I insist, don't fund my bad habits.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. What is your what where do you stand now on, you said you felt grateful, but you're also simultaneously the most lonely you've like ever been. Like, what?
It's an interesting dilemma. It feels weird. I think it might be the COVID thing, or the fact that, like I said, most of my friends have moved on, or moved away, or they're focusing on their own families and careers or whatnot. And I live in a pretty small town, so a lot of people were very close knit. But now it kind of feels like I don't really have anyone to like call up and be like, "Hey, let's do this. Let's hang out. Let's," I have people like Llama, who used to be in my hometown, and it's still a very near and dear friend to me. But there's not that personal connection, being miles apart, and you know our friendship is kind of temporarily, or for the time being, evolved into an internet friendship, where we don't really get to see and interact with each other maybe as much as we previously had or would like to.
Yeah, that's really hard. It's
Yeah.
really it's not so hard when, like for example with Mahler, I only know Mahler through the internet and through a monitor, right? So, but it's hard when you have something where it doesn't look like that, and then that gets, I don't want to say stripped away, but it changes, and if it's a very weird feeling, and it comes with a whole host of emotions.
I want to
You
say,
don't know what you have until it's gone, kind of feeling.
I'm gonna say, firstly, I fucking love you.
I love you too.
Like genuinely from the bottom of my heart, not just because this past weekend and everything, all that, but we've been through some shit, and my whole family is gonna be completely vaccinated by mid to end of June, so I'm gonna be up there to see you. So.
And if I don't see you, then
look
I'll
forward
see
to
you
that.
in September.
No, I mean, you're gonna see me then. You're gonna see me then. So, like, yeah. So you have that to look forward to.
Awesome.
What kind of support system do you have in your life, Smoy Fry?
It's mostly close friends. Llama's community is a hub of nice strangers and people I've gotten to know over the years. Mahler being one of them. Few names in chat. I've met Internet Jesus Christ, mostly through Llama, but he's also from my local area. Gargle, Twin Turbo, Andros, and then I have a few people. There was a brief stint of time where I was involved in going into a college that I had no business being at, and playing Smash Bros competitively with a bunch of people my age and getting to know them. So we all talk on the internet primarily, but yeah, mostly people from the internet, or who I mostly contact through the internet.
What do you do for self-care? You use that term, and that's a big term. What do you do for
Yeah,
that? What do you do to help
it's
yourself?
recently or just
Like today, what have you done to love yourself?
I took the day off work. I
you
called
go.
in.
I mean-
I said I don't want to be here, and got a few extra hours of sleep, and then gave Llama some money. No, no, I find myself kind of retreating to my computer, and I don't know if that's necessarily self-care. I would probably put that under the form of escapism. Um, but yeah, I just because most of my friends and support group are on the internet, I find myself most comfortable around my computer for the time being.
Yeah. Take some time to love yourself. Definitely take some time to love yourself. I hate that isolating feeling. I hate feeling like I have to come to the computer for love and for attention and compassion and friendship. Take some extra time. I found it was 2 or 3 years ago now. I did some gardening, and I found a great joy in that. It doesn't work for everybody because a lot of times maybe we live in apartments. I do right now. There's a bunch of things. Gardening and having something external that I could care for was a way for me to self-care. Calling into work is fine too.
Yeah,
not all the time. Not all the time.
Yeah. I agree with that.
yeah.
Before this, like I said, when I was into the Smash events, I didn't just kind of like attend them as a participant, but I also would host them. Like I would book a venue and kind of create a place for these tournaments to take place. And with the whole COVID thing and a few other external things going on within that community, I've decided to kind of step away from it. But it was very fun and a good part of life that I enjoyed. It was very fun setting up tournaments and just being the host of a place where all your friends could just kind of commingle and share doing something we all love doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Sorry you're going through your struggles.
They come and go.
Yep, they sure do. And all we can do is take it minute by minute. I intimately am familiar with that feeling. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And
Thanks for having me.
I'm gonna. It's not about this, but I'm gonna drop you a follow so I can stay in touch with you because I like you. I like the cut of your jib.
You won't regret
He's
it.
a good
I love
man.
this kid for a good reason.
He's
Good
man.
people.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
really appreciate you telling the story, and we're here for you.
You aren't alone. You aren't.
Yeah, if anything, I
anything.
just kind of want, if there's somebody, I know there's probably somebody in chat who isn't quite comfortable to share their story or, what they're going through, and we're all going through something. We all know. But we're all here, and I know it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it does get better.
It does. It does. It at least gets a little easier at minimum.
And it's better to walk that path with friends by your side than it is alone. So, and I think we're all kind of walking it. We didn't realize we're all walking this, a very similar path, but now we know we can walk it together. So,
A good way to put it.
we have support. Appreciate
And I'm coming
it,
to see your ass next month, so.
There it is,
Yeah.
you said it.
Yeah.
Set
I
that
got
reminder.
I'll pay for your gas. Don't worry.
And
You've already paid for my gas tank 300 times over, dude. You're good.
And what's
You're
with
good.
you guys? I have a quick question. I'm curious what you guys mean by it's not healthy to self-love with my computer. Are you saying it's not right for me to take my computer to bed every night with me and cuddle with it? Is that like I can't have my tower?
Muller.
No, it's not.
Are you unplugging it?
That's
yes or no?
I'll leave that as a mystery.
That
Muller,
would not be healthy.
That's a USB port, buddy.
Well, I don't want to even comment on that. Okay, yeah.
All right.
It's too big for me. Anyway.
Oh my.
Oh dear.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I had to.
Uh,
I did.
well, yeah.
Gotta have some laughter once in a while, right?
Yeah. Please don't take your.
Yeah.
In closing,
I don't.
thank you all for taking the time to do this. I appreciate and love you all, and it's been fantastic meeting and getting to know you. And in some cases, sorry, Fuzzy, maintaining the relationship that we have built with one another. Love you guys. Love you
Love
too,
you too.
Fuzzy. But
Thank you.
I've known these guys longer, so
You'll get to know me.
yeah,
You'll see me around in your chat. Promise.
yeah, it'll be fun.
Appreciate you.
Everybody.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
again
much.
for sharing.
You guys enjoy the rest of your discussion.
We'll do.
Thanks,
Be safe, bud.
You have a beautiful night.
Thank you. You as well.
What a cool guy.
Yeah, yeah.
What a cool guy.
I love the pieces.
Wow.
He's been there for me through so much, dude. Damn.
How could you not? What a cool guy. And
Yeah.
now that he's not here and he doesn't have to feel awkward about it, thank you so much, seriously, for being so open and honest. Like, holy shit. That was like, whoa. Talk about a lot of trauma. That's a guy that's hurting.
Yeah.
That's hurting.
Yeah. Well, I have the only other two people here or in the waiting room. I have them both added, so I can add them in. You guys want to take a quick minute to breathe or drink water?
I do. Yeah.
Let me go check up on
really
them.
quickly.
Be right. Thank you, everyone out there. Again, I know I said it several times, but thank you for being here, for sharing, telling your stories, for allowing us to tell ours.
The big thing. You said it right there. Honestly, thank you for letting us hear your stories. This isn't about us three yokels. It's about you guys. It's about all of us together. And like, I've heard some really powerful stuff. Not just like here between Small Fry and Snoops, or in even us. Like in chat, people have shared some powerful stuff. There's a lot of people hurting out there in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be right back.
Sure, take your time.
Everybody's doing well. Thank you guys for being here. I have to get cold, chilly.
Looks like I'm the first one back. So hello to everybody. And thanks for being here. I know we've said it about 100 million times, but thanks. Appreciate you guys.
You didn't even see my greeting?
Your greeting.
Yeah, I gave you kisses.
Let me try to.
Aww.
I don't quite have the same form. You've got practice.
Yeah,
You've got some practice on that.
professional.
It shows.
We're
It shows.
professional at loving humans.
That the real hard thing is loving yourself.
It is. It is definitely.
That's the real struggle.
Yeah, sure. This has been refreshing, emotional, but I'm really glad that we've done this. I was actually thinking when I was getting the pup from outside that maybe we do an open discussion type of forum on a Discord every once in a while as well, along with doing something like this every month or two. But some way every couple of weeks where we can get together and just chat and with anyone, right? Anybody who wants to join and just have conversations, kind of.
You know what I would think would be fun? I think we come up with a name for it. The first name that comes up in my head is like a quick save, like a mental health quick save, and a way for people to remember the time before whatever happens in the meanwhile. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can press F5, quick save, and remember the day that you last quick saved. You know what I mean? Something like, well, we'll come up with something like that. Something fun, quirky, and something memorable.
Good. How you doing, Jolly?
I'm okay. Just had
How you feeling?
real,
you on 60 hours?
almost another 45 minutes and we're there.
Whoa, dude!
Yeah,
Nice work.
he's done his birthday stream, and how many hours you got left?
13.
13.
Whoa, buddy. P.S. Everybody, that is not good self-care. Like,
I've been. Oh no! Don't
He
get me wrong.
actually slept.
I slept for about 10 hours on
okay.
stream last night. So I just had 20 some odd people watching me sleep. That's on them. That's on them. At a certain point, that's not on me. I'm there, but that's not on me.
You're right. I'll give it to you.
I'm
Okay,
sleeping
never
on.
mind.
I'm sleeping on stream again tonight. So if you want something to do while in the middle of the night, you can watch me sleep. I guess.
Pass. Sorry.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So you're saying you took your computer to bed too? Is that what
Wow.
I took my entire community and
Yeah,
an
you're
entire
not
other
conscious,
community
yeah.
to bed last night, or
Wow.
2 nights ago. So yeah,
Whew, that's quite the lifestyle.
we don't judge here. We're completely open and
There it is.
welcoming. So
Love it.
yeah.
Exactly.
Love it. Well, good on you, man. Good on you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's bring in we're gonna skip the alphabetical just because of the they left the channel. Hold on, let me double check with them.
One was Tig.
Yeah. Let me see if she still wants in.
Oh, yep, there's Tig back in the waiting.
Okay, great. All right, let me go ahead and add her to the call then.
Hello, Tig. You're on the air.
Hey guys,
Hey,
how's it going?
Not bad. How are you?
Go on.
I'm doing okay. I'm trying to see where is that thing. Oh, hey.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Oh, what a lovely
been-
room! I love your room.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Oh, those plants
I
are.
can see them.
I love it.
Yeah, thanks. Actually, you were saying plants before, and my other room has like a whole wall of stuff that I've started to grow since the pandemic started. So
I love that so much.
it's really, really helped a lot. So I second
Therapeutic.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Sorry, I dove out of the channel because I saw I do say I was kind of waiting in there, and I was like, oh, maybe there's only time for like one more person. But
No.
I just wanted to quickly share a tool that has worked for me. And for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Tig Newton's. My name is Carla, actually, and I've been around Twitch for probably 8 years, probably actively. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety in 2006, but I actually knew I had that like way before. For women, depression and anxiety looks a little bit different sometimes than it does for guys. And I can't tell you enough how much medication has really helped in therapy. So for anybody who's kind of questioning that, I think each of us goes through our own sort of path with figuring out like what helps and what doesn't, and what level of trouble we're going to go through for self-care. But the one thing I wanted to share was that it's really clear that we're all really plugged into one another's condition as far as being isolated and apart from one another. But that doesn't fix that so much. So one thing that I've been trying to do is kind of looking for opportunities for like service and getting out to get to people, try to close that gap in some ways, if that exists. It doesn't always exist, and especially with vaccine stuff, I don't know in your area. But the real important thing is that when you're in those deep dark areas, which I've been in, and Jolly has been a wonderful shoulder and ear for me in past times when I've been in those dark areas, so thank you again for that. But when you're there, one thing that's really helped. Whoa, hey, that's different.
It's all right.
So one thing that's really helped is to actually slow down and say, I'm having the thought that I am damaged, or I am hurting, or I am not worthy of having love without my computer. I'm not touching anything else with that. But like, but if you really take a moment to say, I am having the thought that the thing that you're upset about, it helps to just put a tiny space between you. And that can be the first part of just understanding what part is real and what part is sort of us trying to work it out. That's all I just wanted to add for people.
That has foundations in therapy. I can tell you've been.
Yeah.
That is a super important thing. Another big thing is, before anything, this is for people who maybe have like impulse issues. You think, I'm going to do something. I'm going to I can't even think of anything off the top of my head. But before you take an action, before you commit to a thought, stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I still feel that way? Do I still want to do that? If I still feel that way and I don't want to feel that way, I take another 5 seconds. And I keep taking that time over and over and over until I don't feel that. That's a big thing.
I also do, this is so funny because Fuzzy, I know I haven't talked to you before, but like, I also do the houseplant thing, which is, have I gotten sunshine today? Have I gotten water? Have I gotten fresh air? Like, am I actually like alive? Like treating myself like a living thing. And that also, I think, helps too. Just go through like some ritual movements to be like, nope, look, still got a pulse. It's still here.
Love that. Love it. Body awareness is a buzzword that it used to not be called that. I don't even know if it used to have a name when I was in therapy. Also, I want to touch on, you said that medication and therapy. The statistics bear out very, very clearly that the most effective treatment for mental illness is therapy and medication combined. That's the most effective. If you feel like medication isn't your thing, that's fine. That's where I'm at, and I sort of raw dog my mental illness, but that comes with struggles, make no mistake. But medication therapy, I love that you said distance yourself from those thoughts, because it's so important. I struggle with intrusive thoughts. I struggle with anxiety, and anxiety has your mind racing about 100 million miles an hour. And so I can have an intrusive thought, boom, and have a plan to do something I don't want to do within a second. And so distancing yourself from that, what I personally do is say, this thought is not mine. This thought is not true. I don't think that. I don't believe that. And thank you. You're exactly right. Thank you for that. You are so right. Body awareness, grounding. Are you familiar with grounding, Tig?
Yeah, yep.
Step outside. Seriously, take 15 whole seconds. Yeah. Right. Let me pull out the worksheets I got from the therapist. Step outside for maybe even just 30 seconds and take a moment. Feel the grass beneath your feet. Go to wherever it is that's grassy or maybe rocky if you can stomach it. Go somewhere where it's earth and feel it barefoot. Take a deep breath. Inhale the fresh air. Go to a park. Go to where, if you live in the big city, go to wherever it's most green, where it's most close with nature, and just feel it for just 30 seconds. What a life-changing event.
Yeah. And I also just want to say, like, man, you were saying like just raw dog without medication, but I think that's a huge amount of strength and a huge amount of effort to do that. So my hat is completely off to you. I think that that would be the goal for me one day, is to sort of get either in the environment or the biology or both, hopefully all of the above, I don't know, the whole support system into a place where it can just be me.
You nailed it. Do not ever think that it's a weakness that you're on medication. It is not. I want you said that,
I
and
wouldn't
I'm
I
like,
wouldn't be here without it, so I
right?
can't necessarily knock it.
100%.
I mean, yeah. So
I'm proud of
you
you.
know,
I want that said.
thanks.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of all of you on this call.
You, I mean, look at you. You got a lovely home. You're gorgeous. Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you.
input. Thank you. God, Tig, I love you. You're great.
Oh, thanks.
I love you too, Tig. Thank you for
Love you
sharing.
Thank you
and
so much, Tig.
I,
Guys, go
I
follow
appreciate
that link.
you a lot.
Give us some
Oh,
love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
All
give
right,
you a
thanks,
follow.
guys. Thanks. And I hope if you guys have anybody else in the waiting room, you continue this great effort that you guys have done.
Thank
Absolutely.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Have a great night.
What? There are so many lovely people out here. Are you kidding me right now?
Dude, I'm telling you, it's
There are so many lovely
Full of
people.
amazing. It's yeah. There's no shortage.
Whew.
yeah.
No shortage at all.
You know, again, like take a minute. Let's look at the bird's eye. These are people. Every single person that we run into is a person who has a whole ass story. This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is so incredible to me. Wow,
Yeah.
what a blessing. Thank you guys for inviting me. Holy smokes. This is incredible. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always a very heartwarming time. I mean, tough at times to get through, but you know, it's super necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad that we do it for sure. I think
I've
we
only
do
been
have-
tearful twice, okay, Jolly? Like, give me.
There was only same. I think the only like I almost lost it in that last break. I had a heart to heart with my chat and I almost lost it, but we're good for now. I'll cry later, maybe when I'm done streaming in 13 hours.
Or in bed tonight, you know.
or in bed tonight where no one can see my face. Yeah.
right.
But yeah, we do have one more person, another very near and dear person to my heart. Small Fry mentioned him earlier, so I'm gonna go ahead and add him to the call here. Fantastic person. I'll let him, I guess, say anything he wants to say about himself or anything else as well. Here we go. He may or may not use webcam, completely up to. Hello?
Internet Jesus, you are on the air. Hello.
Is your mic working?
Hey, Dread. Going pretty well. How you doing tonight?
Oh, he's having connection issues.
I hope you're well.
Oh,
With
no.
Discord.
Good to see you as always.
Um,
Yeah, it's going well. It's helpful. Like
Let's
it's
see.
just
Let's
it's,
change the region, maybe. Hold on.
I'm very glad
The
we're
call
doing
might
this.
get a little
Really am.
stuttery here. I'm not sure how good.
Well, I
Discord
hope you're
is.
doing well tonight. Hope you're getting some family time in.
Hello?
Absolutely adore you, my friend.
Change the region. Hoping that would help. RTC connecting.
You're okay. You just got done on Final Fantasy.
Can
Sent you a
hear
little
us,
pic
just
of the
can't
turnout
talk.
for the memorial. All
He's
right,
gonna
I'll
restart
take a
Discord
look
real
at
quick.
it. I have, as you can imagine, I have quite a few
All right.
messages I need to catch up on. But yeah, I will definitely take a look, Fred. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, there you are.
Hello,
Yes.
how are you?
I'm doing okay today. How are you guys doing?
Good, good. Thank you
Alright.
for the message, by the way.
Let me turn off Shall We Stream 1 sec so I don't feedback. Alright, I'm here now. Hi guys.
Hello.
I wanted to expand a bit on what Small Fry said about isolation. I'm diagnosed myself with MDD, generalized anxiety disorder, and I fit the criterion for avoidant personality disorder, so sharing this is pretty difficult for me, especially in front of strangers. But I went through a similarly traumatic split from a very, very abusive relationship, the longest one that I've really ever had in my entire life, in which I was isolated from my friend group and made to feel that everything about me was kind of abnormal. But after leaving, seeking comfort and an understanding in my friends has made me really consider the ways in which we as men in Western society are socialized to either devalue or reject the emotional and physical bonds that we need to be healthy. And you guys, like, even though it's really difficult many days, and many days I struggle with breaking trauma bonds, or even talking about it, I want to say how important it is to have discussions like these, and how much I respect all of you for willing to be doing this. And most importantly, to be offering vulnerability to other people that you may not even know. Many times it may take one person offering a sincere and genuine connection in order for another person to feel it's safe to meet them with that same vulnerability. In essence, sometimes it takes someone else being willing to take the first step in sharing. And I want to thank you all here for doing that again.
Of course.
Thank you.
I'm sure that Lord Fuzzywig, you're probably familiar with the psychologist Harry Harlow. By the way, my background, I'm going into grad school for couples therapy here in the fall. So to study the nature of attachment and in specific attachment disorders in early childhood, he placed two mothers in an experiment environment, an uncomfortable wire-based mother with food and a soft terry cloth mother without food. And Harlow's experiment showed that the infant monkeys would gravitate toward the mother without food, the terry cloth mother, simply for the reassurance of that like soft terry cloth or the gentle touch. COVID's really isolated us physically from each other, even more than we already may feel isolated. And I want to encourage people to, one, please get vaccinated, and two, after you've been vaccinated, please offer your physical presence and an in-person ear, if you can, to other people when you can, especially in this time. It's so important to be able to be physically there for someone. And, you know, we have this sort of parasocial relationship on Twitch, which is, it's wonderful for fulfilling, like, a lot of what we need, but being around people in general, it's something that we biologically really need.
Absolutely.
Social creatures, that's for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
I think it's important to in regards to the parasocial relationship on Twitch, I think it can become one. It can be just as social as any other relationship, but especially with the like bigger streamers, we're talking, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40, 100,000 people. That's where you have to be careful and be present with yourself and realize, like, am I getting out of this relationship what I'm giving into it? So you have to be careful with that. So it's a good point. But reactive attachment disorder is a heck of a thing, and good on you for studying it. I've dealt with a number of rad kids, if you will, and man, what a traumatized group. So good on you for
Yeah, there's a
going
lot.
down that.
There's a lot going on.
Whew, a whole lot, buddy. That is a hurt population.
I wanted to thank Casey in specific for offering that first branch to me here on Twitch, because I really wouldn't be streaming without him, and I wouldn't be a part of this community without him.
Of course. Twitch is a better place with you on it. I'll say that much for sure.
Thank you very much. I really, like you say often, I want to be able to offer that genuine connection and community that I know so many other people out there are already looking for. It's, you know, partially for myself, but it's also partially for, you know, people who may feel that they want it and people that they feel like they don't necessarily have it elsewhere. I really want to encourage people to also reach out to me if you feel like you've related to any of this, because I love to talk about it all the time. I'm studying this stuff. It's important to me. Being open and being honest and being vulnerable is something that I'm kind of cultivating in myself because it's something that I never really was comfortable with as a child. So, you know, trying to work on it.
Can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Same here.
I appreciate the you reaching out already. You've already provided that branch to myself. You know, through a direct message, and I'll definitely be. I look forward to talking with you and get to know you better.
Yeah, I'm sure we have a lot in common.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing you
I'm
both,
sure we
I'm
do.
sure you guys do.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately in some cases, but it's always good, like we've already talked about tonight, right? Which is walking that path with people,
with people, being able to share that with them.
versus
Yeah.
alone. I mean, it's hugely important. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
We all feel so isolated already, not just because of COVID-19, but because of our own thought processes. We all feel so isolated and alone. Why literally be alone? Like the least we can do is feel that way and not be that way, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. So thank
Yeah,
you.
I would love to talk male mental health with you sometime.
Oh, it's very important to me as well.
Yeah, it's a topic I deal with on a daily basis at my job. I didn't want to inject that dialogue into here, especially because
For
Moody
sure,
was
for
supposed
sure.
to be here, but she really had a rough day at work and she's actually asleep on the couch right now. But you know,
I'm glad she's resting.
I want to have that conversation because that is a topic I am whew, whew, so passionate about. So
And put it on the board for next time, maybe.
100%,
Absolutely.
100%. And actually, Moody can go for the female aspect.
Awesome.
We can arrange that too. We can make that happen.
Good stuff, you guys. Thanks for doing this again.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, and thank
Yeah.
you for studying to help these kids. This, I mean, really
Yeah.
a underserved population.
Oh,
Thank
I'll
you.
be doing couples and family therapy, but then that's part of it. Yeah, of course.
It 100% is it tangentially and also directly affects those kids. So thank you.
100%. Thanks, guys.
I also want to say I'm also gonna come see you at the end of next month, so
I would love to.
so we'll be there.
Get those shots,
for
boys.
sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Right.
All right. See you later.
Thank you so much.
Take
care.
Have a beautiful night.
Yep.
Good night.
Holy smokes! What this is my first real interaction with your community. Mahler, I've interacted with quite a bit of your community, but Jolly, wow, you have made an impact on so many people. Like you have made an impact on so many people. Wow.
That humble face.
I'm trying
Wow.
so hard not to tear up right now. No, like
I
legitimately,
love
like
you,
I'm
man.
just trying so hard not to tear up right now.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, dude. That's crazy.
I am so
Wow.
incredibly grateful. I'm so incredibly grateful of this community. Like, not even just the community around me, but just everyone involved in this. And there's just so many amazing people on Twitch and off of Twitch. It's just humanity just really has really come together this past year. Ironically, everyone's split, but I don't know. I'm trying to formulate words so I don't start just like breaking down, but I'm gonna leave it there. Let you guys take over for a minute.
No.
Yeah, nope. Not letting it happen.
Nope.
Keep going, buddy.
Not happening.
Stream's not done until you're balling.
Oh man. We love you, brother. We love you. Thank
yeah,
you guys.
Wow. I don't even know you like that, but holy smokes, I love you just because of the impact you've had on people. Wow.
Yeah. Amazing.
Amazing person. I don't even know the guy, and I can say it. Wow. So cool. What should we wrap up with? I need to spend some time with the missus.
Yeah.
What should we wrap up with?
I mean, I don't know. We've kind of, it's been wrapped up really nicely. With everyone who shared, and I want to personally, and I think, I can speak for everybody here. Thank you for being brave to share your stories, for giving other people the opportunity to see that they are not alone, and that there are others out there who will and are willing to walk this path with them. And everybody else who came in, who maybe you're not feeling comfortable enough, right, to share these, but I hope in some way that this perhaps has reaffirmed your belief in humanity, reaffirmed your belief that this isn't just about video games. This is really about human connection. And I want to thank personally each and every one of you who's messaged, about any random number of topics tonight. For being, for doing that and for putting yourself out there. And again, it's just amazing to me what we found. Jolly said it. Twitch is full of amazing human beings. If you go out there and search for them, you will find them. They're not hard to find if you look in the right places. And just remember how you impact each other on a day-to-day basis when you're out in the world. I say it every day, but one smile a day can change somebody's life. You have no idea what they might be planning in the next 10 minutes or an hour or by the end of that day. And just by you being kind and reaching out and showing them that you're also human, you can change the trajectory of a life. And I really feel and I really hope that in some way tonight has done that for all of you, some of you, any of you. And thank you again. Thank you, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, these beautiful, beautiful humans and everybody who joined us, chatted. I'm blown away. Again, every moment I spend on Twitch humbles me and gives me more hope for humanity. And it starts with us. It does. It starts with us. We can't rely on anyone else. The world kind of proves that. So we need to be the change that we expect in the world, right? So that's all I have to say.
I think that's a pretty solid way to end off.
I think so.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Love you guys.
Much love. Thank you, Fuzzy and Mauler.
Appreciate
you guys are awesome.
Love you guys. We're gonna do this again. I'm
Yeah,
putting it out there in the
yeah,
universe
yeah.
right now. And
Yep.
Jolly, we were talking when you were off on break. I don't know if you heard, but maybe doing some kind of a Discord call every couple of weeks, just to have some real talk. Just to be like, hey, anybody who wants to come in and get some real interaction, not just streamer to chat and texting, but and maybe have some more of these conversations if you're having a struggle, if you're having a hard time.
And we can definitely use the stages feature for Discord. It doesn't allow for video, but that would be a really good way to do it, because not everybody's comfortable about getting on camera, and that's okay.
Exactly. Perfectly
just
fine.
like hanging out and talking, I think would help a lot.
Yeah.
And then everybody, TwitchCon, we're all gonna meet you. We're all gonna party. We're all gonna have a good time, and we're all gonna hug because we're all gonna be vaccinated.
Vaccine.
Vaccinated. Yeah.
That's what happens.
Hey, it's a long day. It's been a long day. Now I haven't streamed for 60 hours, but you know what?
Yeah. Shoot, look, he's putting you to shame, Muller. He's not here saying words like vaccine.
Anyway, but no, appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we make this a regular thing, and I'll show my cards here. It's always been my dream to do a call-in show, and so it doesn't necessarily have to be pertaining to mental health. I think I got the audio sorted, so maybe we can use kind of that general format using the stages feature. I really like Jolly Llama's idea of the stage feature. And first of all, it's a really cool thing that I didn't even know existed until literally just when the stream started. So super cool. Good on you for that, because that's awesome. I think we can do things like that, and like just talk. These are people. Yeah. These are people in our chat. These are people that you interact with on a daily basis. You play games with. You just talk to. These are all people with real stories and real things going on. I just found out some of my chat were fathers, and I had no idea. I'm like, I've known you for weeks and months, and like, I didn't even know you were a dad. Like, let's get to know each other. Let's show each other love.
Yeah,
agree.
I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for this opportunity. It has meant the world to me, for real, to do this. Thank you so much for inviting me. It means so much to me. And I'm going to reach out to one of my guys, a VIP on my channel. I'm going to reach out to him and see if he wouldn't be willing to do a little something. He's like the guy that I was telling you about. He's got some real credentials. I'm going to reach out to him in person and see if maybe we can't come up with like a format thing. For these nerds who, also happen to know exactly what it is they're talking about. So he's all about the Twitch. He's all about the nerdy stuff. He's all about video games and all the things. I think I'm going to do that. And I'm going to be in touch with you guys in that private chat about that. I think this is a beautiful thing. God bless you guys for
I
it.
agree.
Love you for this. Thank
Bless
you
you
so
guys.
much.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great night. Be safe.
Love you. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you so much,
you
guys.
both.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay. Well, look at that. And we're going to wrap up on that. Thank you so much for being here, each and every one of you. I appreciate you. Dread, look at that love. Let's see a little muffin love in there. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. They're going to have a little baby as well. Got a little onesie. I saw that the other day. So super cute. But thank you, everybody, for coming by. We had a lot of folks new to the channel come in, chatting, sharing. And, you know, as I mentioned earlier, it's very brave of all of you to do that. I really appreciate it. I'm very grateful to feel comfortable enough to be able to share with all of you. And I'm very glad that we did this. We're going to do this more consistently. And thank you. Thank you, each and every one of you, for coming out and hanging out. But on that note, it is time for us to end. I have to get up early because tomorrow is Mother's Day. Make sure you're giving some love to the mamas in your life. Give some love to those wonderful mothers. I have to go see mine, and we're gonna have some breakfast and start the day off right, you know. But I know some of you guys have brand new mothers, right? So, Brad, you better take care. Yeah, you better do your thing, baby. But thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. We're gonna raid, and I know who we're gonna raid tonight. It's super easy. We're gonna raid the man who's got like 16 hours to go. I don't know, as long as he's not going to sleep. Otherwise, I'm gonna raid him anyway. Yeah, I think he's gonna game. He's at 59 hours. You want me to raid you, M-Win? All right, let's do that. We're gonna raid M-Win. He's not. Well, the last thing he was streaming was how to troll your friends. I'm not sure what that game is, but we'll go check it out. I love you. Oh, never mind then. I'm gonna take my ball and go home. Meh. Aw. M-Win, thanks for being here. Dread, thanks for being here. Everybody who showed up tonight, everybody who was hanging, who was lurking, chatting, I really, really thank you, each and every one of you, for listening. I think it was important. We're gonna do it again, you know, it gives me kind of an idea of maybe I need to make, you know, some changes. I like the idea of grounding yourself. I like the idea of, you know, taking a moment, right, to feel the world, the earth, and not to be so stuck in this room, right, at a computer. We're gonna reincorporate the dog walks, even though I don't have a whole lot of time. I want to start doing some things that are a little bit better, right, for me. So we're gonna make some changes. We're gonna make some changes, and we're gonna talk about it. Smoy for dude. Thank you, seriously. I said it as we wrapped up, but thank you for putting that out there, being brave enough to talk about it. I know it blows me away how similar all of us are in some of the things we've gone through. And I think we all know now that, you know, we're not alone in this. So thank you for stepping in there and throwing that out there. I'm gonna do that. I have to do some things better for me, and better for my own health. Octavius, thank you for the follow, friend. I don't have the alerts on right now. I turned them off for the chat, just so you know they weren't going off all the time. But I appreciate everything that came through. You guys were amazing tonight, and I hope this was good. I hope you felt something, you know, during this couple of hours that we were chatting a very important subject. We're gonna go give some love tonight to our friend Jolly Llama. We're gonna go drop some love on Jolly Llama, because I know a lot of you guys are already in there, number one, and if you're not, you need to know who this man is. He is a beautiful soul, absolutely beautiful soul. Octavius, thank you so much. You had a great time. Much love to you as well. Much love. I'm glad you could spend some time with us, and hopefully something hit home right, and now you don't feel I don't know. For me, I don't feel so alone. I mean, I'll just be honest. You know, I've always felt alone, like I mentioned during the stream, very, very much since I was a kid. But now I realize, you know, maybe the not doing anything for my own health is probably not a great thing. Oh no, what just happened? Oh, I got booted from the Discord. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Hold on, let me take care of that real quick. Let me add my camera back. I thought everything went down. I thought the whole thing broke. And so, let's see. Let me reactivate this bad boy. Reactivate. There we go. There we go. All right. And we'll go here. We'll go to my favorite scene where we get to sit around the campfire. But yeah, I need to do something better for my own self-help. You know, I need to be healthier. I need to do things, and I'm going to. And I wanna get better. So if any of you guys need anything, I got a ton of messages to go through. Anybody who sent me a message tonight, thank you, and I will get to it ASAP, and we'll be back. We'll be getting back. You know, I'll be getting back with you probably by tomorrow morning, after my breakfast. But yeah, my pet walks have been great. We haven't done them in 3 weeks, and that's really taken a toll on me. You know, because it creates those endorphins, right? Getting outside and exercising, just anything that gets the bones moving, gets the legs moving, get you off of your butts and out of the chair is a good thing. And I haven't been doing it. So I have not considered an outside walking stream. I have not. But I could. I am thinking about a couple of different streams, right? We're talking about our cooking stream. And then, oh man, in 6 days we have the big celestial event, right? The lunar eclipse is coming up, I think. I think that's on the 15th, if I'm not mistaken. I believe there's a meteor shower as well. So I may search around for a dark place in the area to where we could do something like that. The only way I'd be able to stream it, though, would be on my phone. And so I don't know what kind of quality that would give us. Because I can't really take, you know, I don't really have a GoPro or anything to take outside. But hey, Yubi, how are you? There's a ton of light pollution around here as well. You know, Mike, yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, we have Detroit so close. Detroit's literally, you know, a handful of miles away. So it lights up the sky. That's for sure. How are you, my friend? I hope you're having a beautiful night. How you been, buddy? I don't know. We're just finishing up. We're just wrapping up. We were doing we did our mental health stream tonight, Yubi. But let me ask you about you. How's Mrs. Yubi? How close? You're like a week away from having your first baby, right? Like a week away. Oh my gosh, man. I can't believe it. It's surreal. Surreal. My goddaughter is coming into this world. Her name is going to be Maulette. She's going to be the beautifulest little one in the world. I mean, you know, behind a couple of, I don't know, equal to a couple of wonderful little children. Dread's little one is so cute. So cute. Our friend Bucky has such a cute little baby too. I can't wait. 39 weeks today, 7 days left. My gosh. You gotta be out of your mind, man. You gotta be going crazy right now, dude. Congratulations. Congratulations. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. How are you, sexy people? Guy, you're such a beautiful human, Yubi. Such a beautiful human. We had an amazing chat. 3.5 hours of very real, very good conversations about mental health, about COVID, about the struggles that we personally are feeling, and some others were able to chime in and share their stories. It was very, very therapeutic. We're going to do this again. And it's not going to be 3 months from now. You know what I'm saying? I would really like to do it at the very minimum every 60 days. It was good, Yubi. It was really good. I'm great. I'm fantastic. I mean, I feel good. Do I need to get better? Yeah, for sure. Do I need to do other things to be healthier? Yeah, absolutely. But I know, you know, now I know that there's other people out there. And I cried on stream. I'm not really proud of. So, what'd you do? Oh, about me punching her, Emwin? Jeez. Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised she didn't just kill me. Last time I punched somebody, I got hit with a crowbar. In GTA, by the way, guys. In GTA. But yeah, I gotta get up, you know. I love that. I know, that was hilarious, right? Of course you love that. Of course. No, nothing wrong with it. It was just, you know, things hit home. Things hit close to home. We had a really... I read an article about a guy who lost his father during the COVID pandemic. And how grief was so much more difficult because they weren't able to actually do the funeral. They weren't actually, able to have that kind of piece of closure. And there were moments in there where it reminded me of my own father, you know, and he's still with me, right? But I put myself into that man's shoes with some of the examples, and it was very, very touching. And then I told another story about my own personal struggles, and that was tough as well. I love you, man. You can hug me anytime. Hopefully soon we can get some real hugs in. You know, don't mess with Lizzie. There it is. There it is. Oh, you rascal. You rascal. Thank you so much for putting some clips into chat. I appreciate you guys. I really do. I wish there was a better, I don't know. I'm looking for a better word or a different word, but it's still fitting. I'm very grateful of all the interaction we have, the real connections that we've made as human beings. And so thank you to each and every one of you for being here tonight, for coming in when you did, all the follows, and all the love that came through, So I do appreciate it. I'm very tired. So we're going to go and we're going to visit a very dear friend of mine. And we're going to mess with him because he has like 12 and a half hours left. He's going on 60 hours. In 7 minutes, the man will have been streaming for 60 hours. Yeah. I think you're right. I think that I'll consider that. But, you know, maybe that's truly grounding. You know, that's definitely getting one with nature because you're taking nature home with you, right? Oh my God. That would be horrible. Could you imagine? Like, you know, there's always that movie, right? Where somebody is out in the woods and needs a leaf to, you know, finish the business on and accidentally grabs poison ivy. Oh, hell no. It'll hit you all right. Oh, I'll hit you all right. Yeah, Lizzie kicked my butt. Hit me with a crowbar. I love her. She's an amazing human. Electro is such a good person. Good person. But let's go give Jolly some love, folks. Let's go give Jolly some love. I gotta get up early in the morning to go visit with my mom for Mother's Day. I implore you to do whatever you have to take care of the mothers in your lives. You know, I'll leave it up to you to fill in the blanks on what to do, whether it be, you know, something simple to something extravagant. So, much love to you all. Much love. We're gonna give Jolly some love, okay? Let's go give Jolly some love. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's chatting right now, but let's give him some shit. Let's go give him some crap. Hey, what's going on, Cryptic? Good night, my friend. Guys, copy and paste one of those raid messages, and let's give Jolly. Let's throw a whole line of hearts into chat for Jolly Llama. You guys know him. If you don't know him, you should know him. He's an amazing human being. Drop him some follows if you can. If you haven't, Cryptic Eagle, I'm talking to you. I think you're the only one who doesn't know my friend Jolly Llama. He's awesome, and I guarantee you will really like that guy. But for the rest of you, let's put a wall of hearts in there. Let's give him a ton of love and make sure that he knows how appreciative we are of him and his amazing spirit. But in the meantime, be good to each other. Be safe. Try to put some smiles on people's faces. Let's change this world one person at a time. Let's start with this crazy mad lad who's going on 60 hours. How's that sound? Let's go! All right. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll be streaming early-ish. We'll see how I feel. 1, 2 o'clock. I'll post it in Discord We're gonna play Control tomorrow. We're gonna play Control. I can't wait. I'm excited for the game. Let's do it. All right, let's go raid. Love you guys. Have a great night. See you soon.